Minister Gilbo, you lost a court case to me, and the judge ordered you to pay $20,000, but instead of paying it yourself, you had taxpayers pay for it. Why? Minister Gilbo, the court ordered you to pay me $20,000, but you foisted that on taxpayers instead. You illegally blocked me on Twitter. You fought for 2 years. You used $250,000 in taxpayers' money, and then you stiffed the taxpayer and foisted the bill on them. Why did you do that?
This is the greatest video ever.
Why don't you think you have to answer for $20,000 of legal bills that you send to the taxpayer to pay your fine?
Because you're a pleb, and the government does not respond to plebs, Ezra.
Why aren't you talking about it? You had a lot to say in court. You claimed that your Twitter account was a personal account. If that's the case, why didn't you pay the fine personally?
Look at that scumbag's face, and I'm talking about Stephen Gilbo.
Do you disrespect taxpayers, Mr. Gilbo? Sure seems that way. Hey, you're on the board of a Chinese agency, a Chinese government agency for the environment.
Well, when you didn't answer the first question...
How is that not a conflict of interest, given that you're in the Canadian cabinet?
You know he's going to answer this one, Ezra, given his propensity to answering questions.
Is that why you never criticize China, the world's largest producer of plastic? Why are your staff pulling at me? Why are they assaulting me, sir?
Okay, I'm not going to play the whole thing.
Why don't you ever criticize China? Have you received help from China in your political campaigns too?
I'm going to put it on pause here. There's going to be the cheap joke that Ezra is out of breath just by walking. I think I know Ezra well enough to know that that's like when you get excited, people, like you start catching a fish and you're like, oh, just to pull a Rogan there. This is like the excitement of, oh my goodness, I ran into Stephen Gilbo on the street. And anyone who thinks it's easy to walk, focus, talk, carry a camera at the same time, holy hell, Ezra sounds like he just caught lightning in a bottle. And this is manna from the heavens. Stephen Gilbo, he's got, and I'm talking about Stephen Gilbo here, he's got the face of a commie. I know I've been using that word a lot these days. He's got the face of a convicted criminal. But look at his face. Let me see if I can get here. And bear in mind, or at least try to think of how closely it resembles Jack Smith's face. I'm going to do a side-by-side actually after this. Look at that face. Look at that face right there. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that is the face of a criminal. Oh, let me screen grab this. I'm going to screen grab that, and I'm going to go do a side-by-side with Jack Smith. This man has dirty stuff on his computer. That much, no confession through projection. I just look at this guy, and this guy, if I had to guess that he was a pervert, I would guess that this man's a pervert. Yes, every hashtag confession through projection. Viva's admitting he's a pervert. Thanks. But he's a pervert.
China refuses to sign the anti-plastics treaty. Why are you forcing that on Canadians?
To please his Chinese overlords, period. Look at that face. Oh my God. Ezra, if you say Stephen Gilbo 3 times in the mirror in the middle of the night at 3 a.m., he'll appear behind you, and that will be what you see over your shoulder.
What does that mean, the registry, Mr. Gilbo? What do you mean by it? What is the cost that...
Okay, we're going to stop it there. I'm going to give everybody a link to that tweet. Share it far and wide. Look, there's very few things. I won't say there's very few things. Not everything on the internet makes me happy to watch. Watching Stephen Gilbo get humiliated like the disgusting criminal that he is. And by the way, he is a convicted criminal, or he pled guilty to, whatever it was. That type of activist interference. There's a word for it. Not mischief. Whatever. How come he doesn't answer any questions? He is accountable to the people of Canada. For those of you who don't know the backstory to that, it's wild and it's amazing. And for those who, accuse Ezra and Rebel Media of looking for trouble, well, sometimes you got to look for trouble. Ezra got blocked by Stephen Gilbo on Twitter. Most people would say, all right, that man's a piece of scum, Stephen Gilbo, and good riddance to bad rubbish. Others would say, I'm going to sue you because you're not allowed doing that as a member of government up in Canada. He sued Stephen Gilbo. Stephen Gilbo's defense. Stephen Gilbo, oh my goodness. He's the former Minister of Heritage. He's the idiot that sits there trying to explain away why the original Online Streaming Act contained an exception specifying that it would not apply to individual user accounts. Then the liberal scoundrels in the middle of the night eliminated that exclusion and then said, don't worry, it's not going to apply to individual user accounts. And they said, well, why did you remove the exception that specifies that? And he goes, and then lo and behold, it's going to apply to individual user accounts if they're big enough and act like a broadcaster. That's Stephen Gilbo. Gilbo blocks him, and then Ezra sues him. Gilbo's defense was, it's my personal account. It wasn't, it's my first day. It was, it's my personal account and I can block you personally. And the court said no. And from what I understand, following it, not meticulously, I wasn't in court live streaming it. He says, you have to unblock him and you have to pay $20,000 in court costs, I believe. Or maybe it was legal fees, something along those lines. I just got a call from somebody who I'll take it later. If you're watching, by the way, I can't talk right now. I'm live. I'll call you back in a bit. So he got ordered to pay $20,000 to reimburse. It was either legal fees or court costs, maybe a bit of both. I forget. Doesn't really matter. And what does Stephen Gilbo do? Stephen Gilbo, whose defense was, it's my private account, and the government's answer was, no, it's not. You have to unblock him. He paid for the $20,000 in court costs, legal fees, whatever it was, with taxpayer dollars. Now, to steelman Stephen Gilbo, he's going to say, well, I guess I made a mistake. It wasn't my personal account. It was a government account. Therefore, the taxpayers have to pay this. After he dragged it through court, from what Ezra says, for a couple of years. The scumbag scoundrel, POS, and yes, I'm not going to say the swears yet because it's still early, but I'm going to use the acronyms. That scumbag POS wasted taxpayer dollars contesting Ezra Levant's lawsuit. In the same way, Strap for Cash, CBC, state-funded propaganda, dragged, the Conservative Party through court claiming copyright infringement. They're so strapped for cash, they drag them through the court system claiming a frivolous copyright claim. Stephen Gilbo drags Ezra through court using taxpayer dollars, tax-paid lawyers, to assert a bullshit defense. I just did it. Damn it, I'm sorry. A bullplop defense, a grade A bullplop defense, then gets ordered to pay court costs or legal fees and pays it out of taxpayer dollars. Scoundrels. Scoundrels of the highest order. And then that raging authoritarian just sits there and walks the streets because he doesn't have to answer the questions of independent media. He'll only ask the softball questions of the CBC. This didn't happen, so don't anyone say like Viva said parody and didn't say parody. Parody people. CBC would go ask him, how did it feel when you lost your court case, Stephen Gilbo? Oh, it was very hard. I genuinely thought I was able to block him because it was my personal account, but I made a mistake, and so that's it. The government should pay for it. The taxpayer dollars should pay for it. Scoundrels, scum of the earth. Did I share that link? Link. Come on, fat fingers. Let's do this. Link to tweet. Go share it far and wide because it's a thing of beauty. It's a thing of beauty. When Ezra catches his targets, political targets in public, he did it in the WEF at Davos. It was glorious. And then you had Alexa Lavoie in the end there. You can go watch the full video to check it out. But share and share. It's beautiful. Good afternoon, everybody. You know, it's like you go to bed at night and you're like, oh, crap. What are we going to have to talk about between yesterday and today? Then the world happens. Then you see, speaking of scoundrel buffoons, traitorous scoundrels in government, then you see, what was it, Congress or the Senate? I forget the House waving Ukrainian flags after they just agreed to ship another $60 billion to Ukraine. They're so happy to provide support to foreign countries, foreign citizens, while their own citizens die of overdoses at record rates, take their own lives in terms of veterans at record rates. Cities are unlivable. Illegal immigrant crisis in America. They're happy to ship tens of billions of dollars off to foreign countries for the amount of money that gets laundered, lost, misappropriated through corruption. They could solve Lahaina. They could solve East Palestine. They could resolve gun violence in schools by hiring armed guards out of every public school that doesn't already have an armed guard. But no, they're a bunch of virtue signaling, scoundrelous POSs who prefer to ship tens of. I'm getting ahead of myself. That's going to be in the show today. So we're talking about the aid package, the TikTok thingy thing that's going through. We're going to talk about the Trump contempt, the Trump trial. Judge Marchand issued an order. What else do I have in the backdrop here? I should take notes. Oh no, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Oh, censorship out of Australia. We're going to have a lot of fun stuff. For those of you who are not familiar, we're going to do another one of our locals supporter chats at about, give or take, 2:30-ish. That is in our locals community, vivabarneslaw.locals.com. We've got 120,000 members. Those are non-supporting, just people who are part of the community. You could join that for absolutely no cost. Just come to the community, vivabarneslaw.locals.com. For those who choose to support, we have this perk that we do on the channel. It's a one-on-one discussion. It's like an interview. It has yet to get adversarial, but I have no doubt one day it'll get adversarial, or at least ideologically confrontational. We're doing one today, another one today. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be exclusive on the Locals After Party. If you don't know who I am, and you just say, how did I stumble across this Raging Lunatics channel? I am Viva Frei, David Freiheit, former Montreal litigator, turned current Florida rumbler. Plugging away with the car vlogs. Plugging away with the car vlogs because people like the shorter format. I feel that there might be some sort of inorganic, algorithmic suppression when your own videos are not getting showed to your own subscribers on CommuTube, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to continue doing it anyhow. The more they chicane, the harder I'm going to work. We start off on YouTube, Rumble, and vivabarneslaw.locals.com. And then what we do, because we vote with our feet, we vote with our eyeballs, we vote with our dollar, we leave the CommuTube platform and we go to Rumble. And then we have the rest of the stream on Rumble. Then we end on Rumble and have the exclusive after party at Locals. And then I put up either the entire stream or clips on YouTube the day after. So it's not a question of doing that, which we're not allowed to do on YouTube on other platforms. I'm a good boy, as my grandmother used to say. It's a question of favoring the platforms that favor free speech, because the war on free speech is... It's getting jacked up on steroids. I mean, it's making the old drug Olympics look like child's play to the level of the censorship that they're trying to bring. That's going to be the first story because it's a funny one. And I screwed up with the meme that I wanted to do, but whatever. I'm going to make fun of myself while I do that. Before we even get there, those are the rules of the game. The link to the Rumble is in the pinned comment. And if you just are so inclined to go start it over there right now, go do it. No legal advice, no medical advice, no election fortification advice. We have these things called super chats, Rumble rants. I do my best to read them all. If you're going to be upset if I don't read them, don't give them. I don't want people feeling upset. Okay. You may have noticed when you came into the stream. I'm just going to go down because I'm totally neurotic, OCD, like it's nobody's business. Yes, I did check the box off. It said this stream contains a paid promotion. Because it does, I love all of my sponsors. And I drink the coffee. In this particular case, the sponsor is 1775 Coffee. Stop drinking woke coffee. Are you a sleepy Joe who has zero cognitive performance? I love this. Scared of walking upstairs without being worried that you're going to fall down? Do you struggle to muster focus and brain power to do basic things, like say words? You need to stop drinking woke liberal coffee and start your day by drinking Rumble's own 1775 Coffee. Never mind that it will be the best tasting coffee you've ever had. It's strong. So if you like that soft tea water that your mama made, don't drink 1775 Coffee. It's good, robust, rich, flavorful, and it doesn't taste like that burnt Starbucks crap. It's delicious. If you're tired of that, come on over. It's locally sourced family farm at Altitude Mountains in Bolivia. So instead of waking up tomorrow and drinking your mold-infested, corporate-owned, woke ideology coffee that's probably making you sick from pesticides it's sprayed it with, try 1775 Coffee. Support freedom of speech. Support the freedom parallel economy that really is trying to save humanity from itself. 1775coffee.com. 1775coffee.com/Viva. Promo code Viva. You'll get 10% off your first order. The link is in the description. You all know I take my coffee like I take. I was going to make my mother's joke. Like I take my men strong, but I take my coffee like I come, short and strong, robust and strong. 1775 coffee /Viva. Links in the pinned comment in the description. You know what it is. You know the thing with the thing. Okay. Speaking of the parallel economy, censorship, the war on words, you see videos, and I say this often because we're living in a world where it's becoming more and more common. You see a video and you say, That's I have to make sure that that's a real video. And I'm actually just going very slowly here because I can't seem to find the video. Here it is. You see a video and you say like, holy crap, that's hilarious. That has to be fake. We knew that Australia was bad. Apparently they got a new PM. His name is I'll get his name in a second. This is the video. Very grainy, just to explain why I picked the wrong photograph to make my crappy memes. But the memes are great in theory. They're just, I cannot deliver in technique. Listen to this video and understand what the Prime Minister of Australia is actually saying right here. Spoiler alert, he is taking credit, praising, lauding the fact that he had memes taken off the internet. Listen.
Platforms.
So I still love the accent. No matter how fascistic and tyrannical it gets, I will always love the Australian accent. I don't know if that's South African. Whatever.
Platforms have a responsibility to make sure that misinformation isn't got out there. I noticed today, for example, on the way up here, they've removed various sites that were up containing fake images of myself.
Fake images of myself. Superimposed
on other people. That's the sort of thing that is going on social media.
I'm going to stop there because something's driving me crazy. Why the heck do I have this screen in screen? Hold on 1 second. No. Did they change something on StreamYard? That's what I want. Okay, I want that view. I don't want to see my face while I'm watching videos. Here.
Social media has a responsibility to do the right thing here.
Yes. Do the right thing here. Do the right thing. Let me just do a play-by-play here. I might
containing fake images of. They've removed various sites.
Various sites
that were up.
I'm going to translate the accent for us Americans. Us North Americans.
Containing fake images of myself.
Fake images of myself. They've removed websites containing fake images of myself. Were these like extortionists? Here's your face on somebody who's doing something bad and we want money and people are going to think this is real? No.
Superimposed on other people. That's the sort of thing that is going on social media.
Huh? Fake images of a face put on somebody else is going on. You mean a meme? You tyrant? You mean you had websites take down memes of you?
Social media has a responsibility to do the right thing here.
Social media has the responsibility to do the right thing here. You can't make fun of your dictator or your dictator because that would be problematic, eh? To which I just bloody well had to do this. I did it with the former guy first. Such an idiot. This, I think it's a pretty good meme. I mean, this one came out well. I am once again asking you to delete memes of me from the internet. That's the Bernie Sanders, for those of you who don't know. What's his name? Albanese. Anthony Albanese. What's it? Albania, a communist country at one point? Maybe Nomen S. Omen. All right, so that was my one attempt. There was that one. And then I think I'll do that. I had a second one. It's not the best, but if they want to take down memes off the internet, they come at Elon Musk and say, hey, Elon, take down that bloody tweet that Viva put up of me and Bernie Sanders. It's bloody embarrassing, Ace. But then if Elon doesn't do it, what happens then? Hold on, I'll tell you what happens if Elon doesn't take down the tweet, because I made a meme for that one too. Not as good as the first one, but here we go. Yeah, it's actually terrible, but hold on, I'm going to show you anyhow just to show off my hard work, wasted time. And this is what I do. Then they get up in the morning and then I make a stupid meme and it takes way too long. It's not well done. The idea is perfect, but the execution is terrible. Here. This is what happens when you don't take down. When Australian PM demands a meme deletion and Elon Musk says GFYS, that means go flip yourself. And it's supposed to be the screaming Trump lady, but yeah, so, okay, lame. But that's what's going on, people, by the way. And Chris Pavlovsky has been tweeting about it. The unbridled, is that the word? Relentless, ramped up war on free speech coming out of Australia, New Zealand, France, Brazil. Do people not understand that this is not even the slow walk towards communism. And I'm using the word loosely. I got a funny anecdote afterwards. It's the slow walk towards absolute statism, authoritarianism, tyranny, fascism, whatever you want to call it. The absence of freedom. You can't make memes of the OCA. I'm your prime minister. You got to come to me for your truth. What was it? Jacinda Ardern, the New Zealand PM, who had literally had her soul sucked out of her body with all of the evil that she imposed on the world. They say, you want your information, you get it from the government. When has the government ever been the source of truth? When in the history of humankind has the government ever been the source of truth, let alone the only arbiter of truth? I mean, it's like Orwell. It wasn't prescient. It wasn't predictive. It was a summary of the past. 1984. He wasn't predicting the future. He was synthesizing the history of humankind in a way that made it timeless. Whoa. Okay, so there's that. Now, what I wanted to do, UK, love you, Tommy Robinson. I'm looking in here in the Rumble side. I'm going to tell everybody now, and I'll talk about it in further detail. I'm going to be on Jenna Ellis's show tonight with a gentleman named Robert Patillo. And I'll just tell the anecdote now because everybody should go watch it. It's going to, even if you have your political issues with Jenna Ellis, suck it up and go watch it because I'm on it and it's hilarious. I didn't know there was going to be a panelist, and I didn't know it was going to be Robert Patillo, who, if one were to say, there are two sides of the political ideological spectrum, I would be on one and Robert Patillo would be on the other. And I was not mincing words. It was fun, and I give Robert Patillo credit for actually going on Jenna Ellis to discuss the Trump trial, the gag order, all this stuff, and what was the other one? And the immunity case that's coming up before the Supreme Court tomorrow. So we're going to talk about that today, but go watch. Don't be a baby Bigfoot. Go watch it today. I don't have the link yet, I don't think. Let me see here. Maybe I do have the link. Drops tonight at 9 p.m. All right, well, I don't know where are we supposed to find it? How do I share the link so people know where to go? ? Watch it. It's funny and you'll like it. Okay. All right. 22 minutes in. Do we do one story here? Let me see what we got in the back. We'll do one short story before we go over to talk about the Trump gag order, a ruling from Judge Marchand quashing a subpoena. Not the end of the world, but it's definitely worth noticing. Let's do this one here because apparently they're not proud of waving Ukrainian flags in the House. I don't know if it's the Senate or Congress. I don't know what the word is for that, but let's say the House, because I'm a dumb Canuck and I don't know what I get mixed up on the American terms. It sure as hell is not the Parliament. These Congress people, congressmen and women, are out there waving their Ukrainian flags after passing a bill that is a four-pronged bill: money to Israel, money to Gaza, money to Taiwan, money to Ukraine, and the TikTok, what's the word? When you dispose of your assets, but you know what I'm saying. And apparently they don't want the video that Rep. Massie took. They don't want that going viral for some reason. Apparently they threatened Rep. Massie for having filmed a 7-second video in the House, whatever that place is. Here, this is it right here. Yeah, hold on, don't look at it yet. We're going to get there in a second. So this is from Dinesh D'Souza, and don't watch the video yet. And he says the House. Okay, so is the House? Thank you. Okay, the House is threatening to fine Representative Thomas Massie for posting this video. So I'm reposting it here. Please share widely as a gesture of defiance against these small-minded fools who despise getting exposed for their America Last policies. Well, Dinesh D'Souza, I'm going to have to fact check you on that. We don't know if it's America Last, but we certainly know that it's not America First. Right now, it looks like Ukraine first. Maybe, no, I won't even say tied up there with Israel. It'll be Ukraine first, Israel second, then like helping the victims of the war that they are financing by providing military aid to Israel. Then it's Gaza third, then Taiwan fourth. So it's not America Last. It's just, at the very least, fact check, America fifth. Maybe last, but we don't know that for certain. We can't make that statement. It's definitely not America First, and it sounds like it's America Fifth for now. Let me try to think here. What else is there? What other country are they favoring? Can't think of one for now. This is the video. Hold on. I got to see something. Okay, right there. Right there. Okay, I might be seeing something. Okay, no, that flag is not at the front. There's an American flag in the middle for now. What is that yellow thing above it? I mean, that I thought maybe was part of a Ukraine. Look at all these people in the gallery. So they don't want you seeing that video. To which I had to reply. I mean, why wouldn't they? Are they not proud of this? Were there not people posting the image to show that this shows America's support for Ukraine? $60 billion more dollars to Ukraine. And don't worry, it's not like it's okay. And it's, you know, for all the bad things that we say, at the risk of being called a Putin shill, I will give Zelensky credit where Zelensky deserves credit. He's thanked the American taxpayers. He's very polite after he comes and gets another $60 billion from America. He tweets, "I am grateful to the United States Senate for approving vital aid to Ukraine today. I think Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Republican leader Mitch McConnell, I thank them for their strong leadership in advancing this bipartisan legislation." This is how you know you've sort of are potentially on the way to losing your country, when it's bipartisan, America fifth or later, as well as the U.S. senators on both sides of the aisle who voted in favor of it. The vote reinforces America's role as a beacon of democracy by shipping billions of dollars to a corrupt regime that is so flipping corrupt, they don't know if it's 30 or 70% of this aid that reaches the end line. It's so corrupt that when it finally gets exposed, Zelensky has to oust certain members of his government who have been misappropriating millions of this aid. It's so corrupt, I'm fairly certain their leading export leading up to this, leading up to 2014, which is when this conflict pretty much seriously began, the leading export of Ukraine was human trafficking. That might be hyperbole. You get what I'm trying to get at here. It's so corrupt. Ukraine is so corrupt. I mean, it's so corrupt. You used to have videos raging against the corruption, the far-right Nazification of Ukraine, right up until 2021, 2022, when Russia invaded the East. And then Ukraine became a sacred cow. Une vache sacrée, comme on dit en français. Hold on, I haven't finished reading his tweet yet. My apologies. Now I don't know where it is. That's great. Okay. Here, it's right here. I am so grateful to all Americans who continue to support Ukraine. They didn't have their choice. Hey, Zelensky, the majority of Americans don't support this crap. So what you should be thanking America for is stealing American taxpayer dollars that are needed in America. I'm paying taxes in America. I would love to know what percentage of the taxes I paid in America were directly whisked off to Ukraine. Forget the veterans who are committing suicide at record rates. Forget the homeless. Forget the overdose. What's that? The fentanyl crisis. Forget the open border. Forget Lahaina. Have they been rebuilt yet? Have they been made whole? Forget East Palestine. Forget Flint, Michigan. I'm so glad that the money that I'm paying to the government in America, whatever percentage, is just being plucked out of my back pocket and shipped to a foreign country. And in fairness, it wouldn't have been much better in Canada. To the historical significance of this bill extends beyond politics. You're damn right. It represents senators and congressmen, whatever the heck we are here, throwing their nation under the bus at the altar of globalism. I equally appreciate President Biden's support and look forward to the bill being signed soon and the next military aid package matching the resoluteness that I always see in our negotiations. Ukraine's long-range capabilities, artillery, and air defense are critical tools for restoring just peace sooner. Mm-hmm. Hey, Americans, he's thanking you for your money. This is from Al Jazeera. When was this from? January 2024. Ukraine says it uncovers 40 million arms corruption scheme. Oh, that's just what they uncovered. It was a one-off. That's the only time it's ever happened. Security Service of Ukraine says 5 charged over plot to embezzle funds earmarked to buy 100,000 mortar shells. Yep. Thank you for your money. It's going to go to good use. There was more to that thing here. Hold on one second. Was there more? Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's funny. When you spend a lot of time on the internet, you see things. You don't put together dots, but you kind of put together dots because they're kind of connected. It's funny. I read a statement from Rep. Hakeem Jeffries last night. He's talking about how beautiful this bipartisan bill is. It's amazing, resoluteness. We're going to just go ship another $60 billion off to Ukraine because they need it more than Americans. Here, this was Hakeem Jeffries' statement from last night. I'll just get to to the good part. Congratulations to Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, yada, yada. Pat ourselves on the back, jerk ourselves off here. Highly consequential legislation that supports democracy and freedom throughout the world by funding conflict. It's amazing. The House Republican majority irresponsibly delayed critical security assistance to our democratic allies in Ukraine, Israel, and the Indo-Pacific for months until a bipartisan coalition, yada, yada, yada. Then I saw something from what's his face here? You know, the total non-rhino, the total non-Democrat, Mitt Romney. My statement on the National Security Supplement. After months of needless delay. That sounded familiar. Oh, yeah. Irresponsible delay. Needless delay. When you got a bipartisan Mitt Romney spouting off Hakeem Jeffries' talking point, you might want to think that he is not only a rhino hack, but he might actually be a rabid, brain-dead Democrat with a capital D. So there was that connection that I put together. There was another one that I saw, which is equally glorious. Like it's almost satire. I watched it. I was like, oh, is this Tyler Fisher? Is this Tyler Fisher doing a bit? Here we go. Listen to this. I was going to start the show off with this, but no, instead I'm just going to go to it now. I was like, oh, that kind of looks like Tyler Fisher. Ty the Fish. If you don't follow him on Twitter, he's amazing. Stand-up comic. Glorious. What does this guy have to say?
Hey, good. It's good to see you.
Oh, this is totally organic, totally natural, totally authentic, not staged, not a setup whatsoever. This is how people do things. You got the camera rolling? Okay. You can hear me? You can hear me? Yes. Oh, good. Let's roll.
I just wanted to give you an update that I'm about to walk across the street from my office here in Washington
and give 60 billion of my constituents' tax dollars to a foreign country. Oh, no, that's not what he's going to say. Sorry.
And we're going to take the vote right now. We're voting right now for Ukraine.
Right now.
To give you the support you need. So we're going to get this passed out of the House of Representatives. We're going to send it to the Senate. The Senate will vote on it soon. We're behind you. We're rooting for you. We're going to give you the support that you guys all need right now to fight and win.
Thank you. So do you think it will be passed today?
I think it's going to be passed.
Y'all got any more of that taxpayer dollars? You think we're going to get that taxpayer dollars today? Because my corrupt regime, I got some people here. They need to get paid. Do you understand? People don't even know what the money's funding. Business. Economy, government. You're funding a foreign government. Y'all got any of that? Yeah, because it's been a while since my last American taxpayer dollar paycheck.
Passed in the House of Representatives today. Yes, I think it's going to pass in like a half an hour. I think it's going to pass.
And what's the next step?
When do we get my money?
Then the next step is then it goes to the Senate, which is our other body in Congress, and the Senate will vote on it probably Monday or Tuesday. And I think it'll pass there too.
We're there.
Well, we believe in you. We're behind you. You're doing it.
By the way.
Well, we believe in you, which is our other body in Congress, and the Senate will vote on it probably Monday or Tuesday.
There's an edit.
And I think it'll pass there too. Well,
there was a hard edit. What did he say? I want to know what he said right there. This is where, like, if I were a real pain in the ass and I don't know if a FOIA request would get that. What happened? But what did they cut out of this video?
Probably Monday or Tuesday.
You could hear there's a bit of audio left over, which means whoever's on the other end, I think it's Zelensky, said something. Listen.
I think it'll pass there too. Well, we believe in you. We're behind you. You're doing an amazing job. Your bravery, your courage is just inspiring to all of us.
I can't even get the bullshit out of my mouth as I try to squeeze it out.
We're going to pass this bill. I talked to the administration. They're actually getting weapons and ammunition and equipment ready right now. In our stores and depots in Europe, so we can.
Are you going to Finland? Are you going to stock it up in Finland that just joined NATO so that you can use it? Use a new partner to NATO. Use them as a weapon stockpiling nation.
Urge it very quickly and get it to you.
Thank you.
Super. Thank you so much.
All right. Be well. Be safe. Slava Ukraini.
Slava Ukraini. Holy hell. First of all, he obviously doesn't understand the history of that term, the Nazi, not origin, but the Nazi adaptation during World War II. He obviously doesn't understand that. Maybe someone should remind him that he basically just said a Nazi chant. He's an American representative, a member of Congress or the Senate, whatever the hell. He's an American politician chanting glory to another country. Like, I've got a problem with dual citizenship in government. I know people don't have the necessarily share that same concern. I got a problem with this.
Really?
Oh, hold on a second. There was another edit right there.
Really?
Yeah, there was another edit right there. What happened there? What did he say that you didn't want to be in the video? And now he's getting another call.
We will. Thank you.
Yeah, Slavic.
We will.
Say it again. Say it again, Crow. So I let me just see who this individual is. I know him, but Rep Jason Crow. Let's go over here. Dad, Little League, yada yada yada. Whiskey enthusiast. Oh, he might have been drinking there. Colorado 6. Is he? I thought he was Democrat, but then people in the comments. You know, that's what a traitor in government looks like. This is, you want to talk about insurrection? It doesn't need to be done through violence, people. It doesn't need to be done with flagpoles and pepper spray as if you can do insurrection. It can be done politically. When you have representatives of one government proudly waving the flag of a foreign nation in their governmental buildings, you have a soft insurrection. That's actually kind of funny. Soft insurrection. Trademarked, it's mine. Nobody can use it. That's going on a shirt right after the show. You got a soft insurrection. When you got your own government saying glory to another country, you've got a soft insurrection. Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. That video is open treason. I don't know if it's open treason because I don't think we're at war with the particular country that he's pledging allegiance to some extent. Viva, just saying thanks for choosing Florida. Keep up the good stuff. Love you. Well, okay, that's a good segue into the next segment because it's not going to be a long one, but it's going to be a funny one. Let me just give everybody the link. Share. Who gave a thumbs down on Rumble? I say, who the hell dares to do that? Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. We're 3,500-ish. We only have 237 thumbs up on Rumble. Here's the link for YouTube because we're going over to Rumble. Bada bing, bada boom. There's a typo in there. What I was just about to say, by the way, about Florida. Whatever. Let's see the number drop significantly. Then we're going to go over to Rumble. Then we're going to go over to vivabarneslaw.locals.com. It's treacherous and it is treasonous, but we're not at war with the country that they're pledging their loyalty to. Yeah, like this is interesting. Slavu kind of slave to Ukraine. The number's supposed to go down, not up, people. Come on, let's get out of here. It's at 12:04. Satisfy my OCD. Come to vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Contemplate becoming a supporter if you want to support the work that Robert Barnes and I do. Or you could, oh yeah, that's right. That's what I wanted to do before we went over. Thank you. What about troops in Niger? I don't know enough about that, but I love your dog, by the way. That's an Australian Shepherd, beautiful looking dog. Don't know enough to have an opinion. And what I wanted to do before we went over was to read the Rumble rants over on the Rumbles because there's a 3. And we got this. Crash Bandit, my government is pissing on my head and telling me it's Ukraining, huh? Bada bing, bada boom, Crash Bandit. And those things there, the whale, I think it means that they're either members or subscribers. I forget how it works. How many freedom bucks to live stream you getting a perm for the awesome Viva Frei? Is a perm straight or frizzy? I washed my hair and brushed. I didn't wash it. I brushed it this morning and put on argan oil. So it's like looks greasy and shiny, but it's super smooth. There's truth and lies, disinformation, and myths. All right, good. And now we're under 1,100. So we're going to end on YouTube. Go over to the free speech platform Rumble. Stay tuned for big news coming from Rumble. And also, this is going to be the perfect segue. It involves Eric Adams. Come on over to Rumble. Yeah. All right. So it's not that it's another one of those things where I don't think people are protesting quite in the right way, but it's not so morally objectionable that I would feel the need to dissociate myself from them as humans if I ever ran into them. Is it this one? New Democrats. The Roseanne. Oh, we're going to do Roseanne. We're going to talk about Roseanne. Okay, no. So it's this one right here. New Democrat. New. Yeah, this is it. Okay, so check this out. Oh, I'm stretching my legs while we're going to watch this one. Okay, I'm opening this up and check it.
Hey, Eric Adams. Yeah, fuck you. You support the guys on Palestine. There are homeless people all over New York. You're always partying. You actually care about the citizens of New York. Why are you even in Miami? You know there are people being arrested there. People are homeless in New York. People cannot afford food. You keep cutting the education budget so you can fund the police. That's all you care about, funding the police.
I think she probably got kicked off that flight. There's no way the pilot's going to take off with her.
Eric Adams?
I love this. Are you Eric Adams? And he's like, oh, is it a fan?
Yeah, fuck you.
There you have it. I mean, it's like every time I run into someone on the street would say, Viva? I was like, I don't know. Is it I love your channel or is it fuck you coming next? Thus far, I've actually never run into a fuck you. I don't think so. I've only run into somebody snubbing me quite overtly, but that's totally different. But I love it. For a second, he's like, oh, am I about to get love? Am I about to get love? Fuck you. Oh, and his heart just broke. Boom. There you go. Oh, there you go. That's it. That's the moment. He's like, what did you just say to me? Nobody tells me to go. I love it.
Hey, Eric Adams? Yeah, fuck you! You support the genocide in Palestine.
You support the genocide in Palestine, et cetera, et cetera. Well, let me see something here. I'm going to bring that down. I want to bring that out. This is, I mean, I appreciate people who are very passionate about the Middle East conflict. This is not how you sway opinions one way or the other. It's quite actually the opposite, like that crackhead, not crackhead, it was called, Crackhead Barney. I'm not making things up. Crackhead Barney aggressing Alec Baldwin in a coffee shop. Like, if you do something that makes Alec Baldwin look like the victim, you're doing it wrong. And if you get on a plane, this is how you turn everybody off to your position. But maybe she got caught up in the moment. What I was going to highlight from this is this. He's confronted on a plane by a pro-Palestine. Eric Adams spotted flying back from a weekend in Miami. That's the segue. That's the connection to all of this. He's flying back from Miami. And I made a humorous tweet. Oh, the man who, hates the don't say gay country, the don't say gay, bigoted, racist, homophobic, well, I don't think anybody's ever accused Florida of being anti-Semitic, but all of the rest. He's flying back. It's like it's bad enough to be hell on earth, but it's good enough to vacation in, or in Eric Adams' case, from what I understand, there was a conference there. But if Eric Adams truly believes in what he says, he should boycott any conference that would be held in a don't say gay, racist, bigoted, and homophobic, transphobic state. He should stand by his principle and boycott that state. And like Dave Rubin was saying the other day, please, all of you, it's so terrible down here. Stay out. Leave it nice. Every time I run into a New Yorker, because the joke here is you run into more New Yorkers than Floridians. I was like, are you a New Yorker who has fled to not import that very same policy that you fled in New York? Or are you one of the New Yorkers who fled from New York and now you're going to bring in the shitty policy that you fled from in New York? Time will tell. All right. So that was it. That's the funny part. Oh, and okay, hold on. Let me bring this up. Actually, I have to do a follow-up with Tommy. Sorry, you're seeing my thoughts in real time. SSJ to Rich says, Viva, did you see the update with Tommy? The head of police there admitted in court they faked the arrest documents. I don't think they admitted they faked it. I think they screwed up on the date because they were rushing to get it out. Not that they faked it after the fact or didn't have authorization, but they made a mistake on the date. I haven't had the follow-up with Tommy, and I'm definitely going to reach out to him because, hey, judge me by the friends I've made and judge me by the enemies I've made. But I believe that even if I might disagree with Tommy on a number of issues, because how can you not? I disagree with me on a number of issues, depending on when you ask me. I like Tommy, and I think he's a genuinely good person. As I have now learned, is also the case of a number of the people who were demonized the most to me. Cernovich, I think back to a lot of quality advice that I got from Cernovich. Smart, thoughtful, insightful, not the demon I was told he was in my DMs before we had our first interview. Alex Jones, Owen Schroyer, and I'm adding Tommy Robinson to that list because I do believe Tommy Robinson is the British version of the Alex Jones. And so that was the segue. Now let's get to the Trump. Oh, let me see here. What do we want to start with Trump? Yeah, I'm gonna save the Roseanne part for the after show on Locals. This is what we're going to talk about. So Trump, there's not much happening today in the court. Hold on one second. Let me see. Just make sure that there is no court today in the Trump trial, but there was a ruling issued yesterday. They're publishing transcripts. You might want to watch all of that on Gouveia, Robert Gouveia, Watching the Watchers. I think he's going to go over his beautiful interpretation of the transcripts. I'm going to look through for doing the highlights. I don't think I'm going to do a live and just go through those transcripts because Viva no like reading. So there's no court Wednesdays as a rule. They're waiting on the contempt ruling from the judge because they raised arguments for the contempt yesterday. I did a short breakdown video from the car yesterday, and I talked about it during the day. If you don't follow me on Twitter, you would have missed it, or if you're not part of our vivabarneslaw.locals.com community. But the bottom line, they were grilling the defendants. Trump, Merchant was, I mean, it's almost like Marchand, Juge Marchand. It's almost like he's the prosecutor. And he's back and forth from the inner city press live tweet reporting on this, saying to Blanche, Trump's attorney, like, are you telling me Trump didn't think he might be violating the gag order when he when he quoted Jesse Waters? What's the difference between writing the sign and carrying the sign that someone else wrote, to use an imperfect analogy? They're entertaining flat out communistic, fascistic, statist, totalitarian, whatever you want to call it, suppression of free speech, gagging a defendant while the woman who can't be gagged, the liar porn star, goes to social media and goes to podcasts. While the convicted perjurer, Michael Cohen, convicted perjurer, even according to Arthur Engeron, takes to Twitter to call Trump Mr. Shittin' Pants or Stinkin' Pants or something. They can talk, and Trump is being held up on contempt charges for calling Michael Cohen a sleazebag, for tweeting Jesse Waters, because by tweeting Jesse Waters, MSM Fox News journalist, he's making the words himself as though they were his own. That's what's waiting. But now, hold on a second. This was the breaking. That's coming. Judge is gonna find him guilty in contempt. The only question is going to be, how much are they going to fine him? I think the judge was looking at $10,000. But they're just and the response. There we go. George Conway. Now, I think that's Kellyanne Conway's wife, right? Or husband. Vote for Joe, not the psycho. Is this Kellyanne Conway, George Conway, or is it, I don't know. Anyways, I don't know who this guy is. I probably should. And I don't mean to do the guy like, oh, who's this guy? I don't know who everybody is on the internet. And certainly, I've been learning as I've moved to the States. I don't know who he is, but I know he's an idiot.
And Michael Cohen. Shift to the trial, if we could, for 1 second. Where is your concern level at this point regarding David Pecker's testimony and Michael Cohen's testimony?
Well, Michael Cohen is a convicted liar, and he's got no credibility whatsoever.
Can you imagine someone's going to argue that that's violative of a gag order, that a defendant shouldn't have the right to state basic facts? You got to be a commie idiot to suggest that thus far. Maybe he says something worse. I know that he doesn't because I've watched it. Maybe that's it. Calling a convicted perjurer a convicted liar and totally untrustworthy. Witness intimidation.
He was a lawyer, and you rely on your lawyers. But Michael Cohen was a convicted liar. He was a lawyer for many people, not just me.
Are you prepared to take the stand if it comes down to it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sure. I'd very willingly take the stand. Right now, if you look at what the legal scholars are saying, and as I said, Jonathan Turley, McCarthy.
One day he's going to mention, if you listen to what the legal scholar, no, that's not his voice. If you listen to what the legal scholars are saying, Jonathan Turley, Dershowitz, Viva Frei, one day it's going to happen, people.
Dershowitz last
not going to happen.
They say there's no case.
There is no case.
They brought a case that doesn't exist. And they're right. Other than we have a very conflicted judge. The judge is highly conflicted.
Talking about the judge? Gag. What's he talking about the judge? Highly conflicted. Why? Because his daughter is financially benefiting from this prosecution.
He should recuse himself immediately.
Yes.
There's never been a judge so conflicted as this guy.
That's intimidating. You are intimidating the judge, Trump. I mean, maybe that's what George Conway's talking about.
He should absolutely recuse himself immediately. That's all they have. They have a good judge for them. But other than that, they have no case.
Oh, when he said the judge should recuse himself, he meant the judge should off himself. That's what it's like. That's like the GKYS for anybody who knows on Twitter, like go kill yourself. When he said recuse himself, he meant violence. That's what he was threatening the judge. That's what this commie pig, George Conway, is arguing, suggesting is another violation of a gag order. And there's two things here, and we have to appreciate this. Either as a black and white letter of the law, the gag order, it's not a violation, in which case he's an idiot for suggesting it is, or under the black and white letter of the law, it is a violation, in which case the rage should be directed at the fact that not that it's a violation, but that there's a gag order out there in a purportedly free and democratic society that says a defendant cannot call a convicted perjurer a convicted liar, and cannot suggest that a judge has a personal conflict because his daughter is raking in money hand over fist, representing Adam Schiff and fundraising on this, working for Kamala Harris's 2020 campaign. And that's the daughter of the judge who's sitting in this trial. I mean, if it is violative of the gag order, you should be outraged at the existence of the gag order, not at the existence of any black on white technical violation of the gag order, unless you are a raging statist commie pig like George Conway. It's not even fair to pigs. I mean, pigs are delicious and they're cute. They're not soft, by the way. For anybody who's never actually touched a pig or pet a pig, they're like firm, and their hair is not soft like a dog. It's coarse. And their snout is not like mushy, like jelly or like slime. It's like a hard muscle. It's almost like, ugh, they're cute anyhow. And by the way, they will eat you. So that's the moral justification for eating pig. It's a life or death situation. Either you eat them, either we eat pigs, or they will eat us. So that's George Conway, reveling in the fact that there's a totally totalitarian gag order in effect, and Trump's violated it. Send him to jail. But that's not the best part of it. Okay, so now that's one part. We'll see what happens. But he's gonna get found to be in contempt of court. Only question is going to be how much. And Juan Marchand, who really wants to jail him, might he jail him? This is the other one. This will be a subject of a short vlog this afternoon. Trump had. I'll give credit where I got the information from, and then this is Inner City Press. Go follow him. He's amazing. Matthew Russell Lee, he was on the channel. I'm trying to get him back on. But the dude doesn't just follow one case at the federal courthouse. He goes he's like a federal courthouse prostitute. It just goes from one case to another. In Trump trial, Justice Merchan, denies Trump's bid to subpoena Stormy Daniels and others. Cohen, those are the two witnesses from the prosecution. Trump, I'll explain it in a second. I'll steelman it, even though I don't believe in the steelman argument. Karen McDougal, the one who claims also that she got paid to shut up. He meant E. Jean Carroll here. I didn't know her name. Not Cartel. I thought there was another woman. E. Jean Carroll, Jessica Leeds, Natasha Stoyanov. This request is overbroad and is not limited to the subject matter of the case. That's what he says to everyone. Now, we're going to read through this right now, but I'm going to give everybody the tweet. There is a steelman to be had here. The first thing to say is it's not because the judge dismissed or quashed this subpoena that he does not get to call these people as witnesses or doesn't get to ask them questions, because Stormy and Michael Cohen are going to be witnesses for the prosecution. So he'll get to cross-examine them. But this was a subpoena duces tecum, as we say. Here's the link to the tweet. This was a subpoena duces tecum, which means a subpoena, bring with you the documents. Link. And what documents were they asking for? What time frame? And the judge says, no, the documents you're asking for, too broad, unrelated, ex post facto, or after the fact of the allegations, therefore unrelated and too broad. So maybe go reformulate. It didn't say maybe go reformulate. I presume they can, time permitting. But let's look at this here. Boom. Okay. Bing, bada, boom. That's very nice. We can see it. And we're not going to, well, we can, it's only 4 pages. Defendant's order, a decision on defendant's motion to compel compliance with a subpoena duces tecum. Bring with you the documents to Stephanie Clifford. That's the non-porn star name of Stormy Daniels. Okay, April 23rd, Donald John Trump was arraigned before this court, charged with falsifying business records in the first degree. Ordinarily a misdemeanor, but they jacked that bad boy up to a 34-count felony charge because they allege it violates federal election law, which the feds themselves investigated and decided not to prosecute. Set that aside, jury's not going to hear that. Okay, Stormy Daniels seeking all materials related to the documentary titled Stormy. The subpoena also sought all documents for a period between April 2023, after the fact, and the present relating to communications with Michael Cohen, Karen McDougal, Elizabeth Jean Carroll, Jessica Leeds, etc., etc. Okay. Finally, the subpoena sought all documents relating to communications with the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of the SDNY during the period of April 2018 to the present, all after the fact. So that's relevant. And I'll steelman it. I'm going to steelman it, but don't think I agree with it. It's a load of steaming dog crap. If there were objections to relevance or admissibility, you do that as they try to admit them into evidence. I don't think the argument was that you don't quash the subpoena for that. They'll prepare the documents because otherwise, It can cause unnecessary delays to the trial, which they would love, just, drag Trump through trial for even longer. But bottom line, let them bring the documents and debate relevance when it comes time for admissibility. But whatever. Okay. For the following reasons, it's denied, and the motions to quash are granted. Okay. So then we go into the relevance here. To sustain a subpoena, the issuing party must demonstrate, quote, that the testimony or evidence sought is reasonably likely to be relevant and material to the proceedings, and that the subpoena is not overbroad or unreasonably burdensome. Do you know how this bullshit fluff gets interpreted one way or the other, depending on how you want it to be interpreted? Like motivated reasoning. In my life as a practicing attorney, and I had 13 plus years of active law experience, for those who think I'm just some nutbag with no meaningful experience. It's just bullshit. I mean, this is what's so irritating about it. It's bullshit. The judge will interpret this whichever way he wants, depending on his predetermined motivation. Does he want the subpoena to be maintained? It's not overbroad and it's not unreasonably burdensome. Oh, he doesn't want it to be maintained? It's overbroad and unreasonably burdensome. The issue here, they're going to say, what's the relevance? Well, if Trump wants to show that Stormy Daniels was extorting him and that this wasn't a catch and kill, but this was a acquiescing to extortion just because it was the cheaper way to do it, well, you might want to see some correspondence between her and Michael Cohen. If you want to find out if they've been banging, you might want to get some of that correspondence. Yeah, post dates the accusations. Yeah, he's alleged to have done this in 2016, 2017. What relevance could anything that happened in 2018 on be? It could show extortion scheme. It could show financial interest to profit off this scheme. If Stormy goes out and orchestrates, organizes, plans the release of her documentary, Stormy, with Netflix for the eve of this trial. For the convenient timing of what was going on in this trial. So, but I could easily make both arguments. Oh, well, maybe there's going to be some stuff that's overbroad. You don't need to see her contract with NBC or whatever. I'm sorry. I want to know how much she got paid for that. I want to know how much money she's making off part 2 of her extortion scheme. Extort and profit. I want to see her correspondence with the other McDougal woman, E. Jean Carroll. Hey, were they shaking hands and saying, wait, way to shake him down? Together we'll do this? I'm sorry, that could be relevant for credibility of the witness, but no. The Court of Appeals has held the subpoena properly quashed when the party issuing the subpoena fails to, quote, demonstrate any theory of relevance. Any theory. Oh, bullshit, they didn't have a relevancy, any theory. They may not have had one that the judge bought. Don't tell me they didn't have any theory of relevancy. I just built it right there. But instead merely desires the opportunity for an unconstrained foray into confidential records in the hopes of unearthing some unspecified information that will impeach the witnesses. Oh, yeah, a foray into confidential information? Oh, you mean like exactly what they did by pressing charges against Trump's attorneys up in Georgia? Oh, that? Going after Jeffrey Clark for an internal legal memo? Oh, like that? Accuse your adversaries of what you are doing so as to create confusion. When deciding a motion to quash, access must be afforded to data relevant and material to the determination of guilt or innocence, as, for example, when a request for access is directed towards a revealing specific biases, prejudices, or ulterior motives. Sounds like if I were reading this decision right now, I'd say, oh, he's going to maintain the subpoena. But no. Defendant's first request seeks all documents that relate to the documentary, and one or more of the following topics. Defendant's first request mirrors that of the request to NBC on March 11, 2024, in a subpoena that was quashed by this court. Oh, so he's relying on his own bias precedent to issue another bias ruling right now. Well, I quashed it before, dumbass. Why do you think I would change my mind now? Think I'm going to second guess my own biases? First, defendants seek all documents that relate to the documentary and one or more of the following topics: the premiere of the documentary, the release date, editing of the documentary, promotion, marketing, any rights, yada, yada. Fine. H, and agreements between Stephanie Clifford, and so on and so forth. All right, all of it. So, I mean, to me, this is an indication. Come back with a more circumscribed subpoena later. But this request is overbroad and seeks general discovery. And you know what's going to happen now? They're going to get her on the stand and ask her some questions. And if it becomes relevant, she will not have the documents prepared, and it'll cause a delay in the trial, which they want to do anyhow. Defendant's second request seeks, for the time period of 2023 to the present, all documents relating to communications with the following: Michael Cohen, his reps, Karen McDougal, another one who was allegedly paid off, E. Jean Carroll, who's a lying batshit crazy lady who hallucinated, in my humble view, liar, and someone who recently changed laws to go after Trump, like they, just exploiting the laws, how they fortified 2024. It's general discovery, not limited to the subject matter. Defendant's third request from 2018 to the present. All documents relating to communications with the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York. At Daniels 318, yeah, the request is overbroad. Seeks general discovery, not limited. There you go. That's it. Quashed. Stuck on it, Trump. Oh, you thought we were going to rule in your favor? Dummy. Didn't you learn from the last one, Trump? Don't even try anymore. All right, well, that's what's going on there. And I'll put together maybe either a short vlog or edit that section. Yeah, I'll just do it. I go into my car now. It's for quiet time to shoot vlogs. So that's that. That's the trial takes up tomorrow. Sorry. So trial takes up tomorrow, but also Supreme Court arguments on Trump's immunity claim. And just to whet your appetites, that subject came up with Robert Patillo and Jenna Ellis. And I think it's funny that I think people are going to watch that and they're going to say this freaking Canadian schnook madman makes a lot more sense and seems to have a better understanding of U.S. constitutional law than many people out there, if I can flatter myself. The arguments tomorrow. I don't want to spoil the Jenna Ellis bit. I'm going to, this is what's happening tomorrow. The question before the Supreme Court tomorrow, which will have an impact. We've talked about this ad nauseum on Viva Barnes Law, Sunday night law extravaganza with Robert Barnes. The question is, what immunity, presidential immunity, is the Supreme Court going to recognize? Is it going to be no immunity? No one is above the law? Is it going to be broad immunity? As in, we want to avoid this type of bullshit from happening again in the future? Is it going to be some form of immunity that shields the president from prosecutorial harassment once out of office? Recall, Jack Smith even alleged this. I think it was in the hold on a second. Which one has the immunity claim? Is it? It's the that's the DC. It's the DC. It's not the Florida court. So the DC Court of Appeals already came out and said, there's a limited immunity. I think. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure. But it's out of the DC court. Jack Smith in his pleading said, "Don't worry." The argument that broad immunity is needed to avoid prosecutorial harassment of an ex-president, it won't happen. Just, trust him on that. It won't happen. He's probably right. It won't happen to Biden. It won't happen to Obama. It'll only happen to politically disfavored, politically unpopular, or the political adversary. Trump, DeSantis, Vivek Ramaswamy. Jack Smith says, don't worry, we're not going to abuse of it. You're abusing of it already, you dumbass. And so that's going to be the question, is how broad an immunity are they going to afford to a former president? Because you want to avoid judicial harassment, extortion of a president. And, people were shocked and outraged at one of Trump's arguments, and they'll probably make it tomorrow. Are you saying, Mr. Trump, that you could kill someone in the White House, and unless you are impeached and convicted, you cannot be tried for that? What the hell do you think Obama did to that 16-year-old kid overseas? Extrajudicial assassination of an American citizen. He's not being arrested. Now, I happen to think that he should be arrested for that. But I would go out on the same principle that I'm advocating for, that if that wasn't good enough for him to be convicted and impeached and convicted, then you can't prosecute him for that after the fact. But people get outraged. How dare you suggest that you can kill someone and get away with it? Obama did that, literally. And now you could impeach a former president. And so you want to prosecute Obama, impeach him, have him convicted, and then you can charge him for murder for what he did, which I believe was murder. Or the flip side, you got to recognize a broad immunity to a president to kill people. Even if it's overseas and a 16-year-old American citizen, or if it's the cook at the White House because he put too much clam in the chowder. So yeah, I think there's going to be, there has to be a reasonable, middle ground. Purely personal acts would not be shielded by immunity. And that would be what I think would be the reasonable solution here. Broad immunity, call it blanket immunity for any presidential or quasi-presidential or presumptively presidential act, and then have a very small carve out for purely personal acts. The only problem being, I've seen how they weaponize their interpretation of the law. They'll just, they'll then cloak every judicial harassment, prosecutorial harassment to say, well, this is not broad immunity. This is under his purely personal act. When he paid Stormy Daniels, it had nothing to do with the presidency. It was purely personal. When he said, I want to make sure that the election wasn't stolen in Georgia, it was purely personal. It wasn't presidential or quasi-presidential or presumptively presidential. So they'll probably go with, it's my pre-hearing predictions. They'll go with the broad presidential immunity with the carve-out for presumptively presidential acts. Presumptively purely personal acts. But I'm not even convinced they're going to, we'll see. I'm not even convinced that would resolve the issue, because all you'll get is Leticia James saying, purely personal act, prosecute. Leticia James, purely personal act, prosecute. Okay, that's it. That's for tomorrow. So, by the way, I'm going to live stream it also. I think it's at 10 o'clock. It's at 10 o'clock. I mean, I'm going to live stream commentate, so that'll be fun. Stay tuned. It's apparently, yeah, okay. All right, so that's it. Stay tuned for that. Let me see if we don't have any more Rumble rants to read. We do. And then there's a couple of tips in the vivabarneslaw.locals.com community. Dahook6969 says, Australian cattle dog, blue heeler. Ah, you're right. Damn it. Not a shepherd. Australian shepherd is an American breed. Blue heelers have Australian dingo bloodline. It's a beautiful dog. And it's one that requires a lot of exercise from what I understand. And they are not predatorial, but they need things to chase. SSJ Rich, Viva, do you see the update with Tommy, the head of... Okay, so I got that one before. And let me bring this up before we get on to the next subject matter, before we go on to vivabarneslaw.locals.com. What was I doing here? I was going to locals. That's right. Okay, so the tipped questions in locals. Doug Leaf Fan, $1 tip. You can't film a vote, but you can film sex acts. That's going... That had nothing to do with the homosexual nature of the sex acts. That's anybody filming sex acts in a government building, lacked parental upbringing. Pam Walker, $3 tip. David, you need to see this. Okay, hold on. Is this real though? I need to make sure. Instead of fining Democrats for waving flags, the House Sergeant at Arms just called and said I will be fined $500 if I don't delete this video post. Oh, hold on a second. So I don't know if this is real. I think it is because I know the member of our community who posted it, but I'm always screen grab. I'm gonna go look for spec. And so this is Thomas Massie saying it. There's more in his tweet, which I can't get to. And it says, upon viewing Rep. Massey's tweet, our team reached out to the Sergeant at Arms. I do not agree with this assessment, and there will be no fine imposed on Representative Massey. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Will you sanction the guy who threatened to fine a member of government for showing us what goes on in government buildings? It's like I said it before, like in a tyranny, justice is merely a cessation of the abuse. He won't get fined. That's right. We're sticking up. How about you go maybe have a talk and fire the guy who just threatens to fine and shut up a member of government for revealing what's going on in the government building? Maybe that's a good idea. Thank you very much. That was from Pam Walker. Denise Antu, $1. David, I was just saying to myself that Obama should be brought up on charges of murder of U.S. citizens, and then you made the point. Great minds. My grandmother used to say, great minds think alike, and fools seldom differ. Bada bing, bada boom. Try to work that one out. All right. Let's have, I'm going to save a fun one for vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Let me just reply to an email. No, we'll talk about it during the tweet or during the chat. What was I going to say here? No, that we've talked about. Oh, there's some exhibits during the Trump trial. Let me bring this up here. These are some of the evidence. It's so wild. I got to keep this in the background and just do this for commentary later. It's like they don't know what the crime is here. It sounds like some are suggesting that the crime is that Trump was paying for positive coverage. If the argument is that the positive coverage is a contribution in kind, then you'd go after the AMI, the National Enquirer, but they signed a non-prosecutor. They signed some sort of agreement with the government. So this is the evidence of conspiracy to interfere with an election. Positive headlines from a journal. A load of shit. And some of the National Enquirer headlines that ex-AMI chief David Pecker testified were part of the behind-the-scenes scheme. Like this is what's the word? This is editorializing right here. This, unless he's quoting someone, behind the scenes scheme to prop up Trump and discredit his political rivals have been did not the entire Steele dossier that Hillary Clinton funded seek to do exactly that? And her team gave it to the FBI, who then leaked it to Yahoo News, who then published it so that the FBI could use it as a basis to go get a secret bullshit Pfizer warrant. Holy hell. It's endless. It's not hierarchy. It's lawlessness. Okay, but that's not what I wanted to talk about. Last topic of the day for Rumble. Hold on, let me see something. We're 5,700 and some odd strong. We're at 500 thumbs up. That's only a ratio of 1 to 10, which is actually pretty good. So I'm not going to complain. Drop a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed. And oh, by the way, if I did show you this here, hold on one second. Let me skip through this ad here just so that we can look at my ugly punum while we do this. Bada bing, bada boom. Look at this. If you're not familiar with it, you can actually go and subscribe. Join vivabarneslaw.locals.com right here by clicking that beautiful little red button. Booyah! 582,000 posts. That has to include comments on our. It's a beautiful community, so you can do it right there. Okay, last topic of the day before we head on over to vivabarneslaw.locals.com. This was new to my eye, and I haven't read through it yet, but it came from a very trusted friend, Jessica Rose, who tagged this article here. Noé Chartier. Noé Chartier. C'est qui Monsieur Noé Chartier? He works for Epoch Times Canada, senior reporter, federal politics. Okay, and he put this out the other day. It says Pfizer chose not to tell regulators about SV40 sequence in COVID shots. Now, I think that's the DNA thing that they found in the shots, and I had Jessica on who talked about it. Oh, am I going to be able to? Hold on a second. Okay. Oh, cripe. Let me see something here. Can I do this? Am I going to get in trouble for doing this? Okay, bub. Well, this might resolve our. Will I be able to read the article if I do this? I want to give. I should probably just subscribe. It's when you do it in incognito. Ah ouais donc. Qu'est-ce qui se passe ici? Pourquoi est-ce que ça fonctionne pas? Okay, ça va. It's gonna make it up here. Let me see if we can get to the article. And if not, we'll have to find something else to talk about. I do have something else to talk about, so don't worry about it. Let me see if that's going to help. And yeah, bottom line, there's an art. People are saying like, Viva, is this going to affect immunity of Pfizer if they chose not to give material information to the government of Canada? In Canada, I drew this distinction a while back. We didn't have the PrEP Act, and so the pharma companies didn't get immunity. What they got in Canada, Australia, South Africa, I believe, was an indemnity clause in their supply agreements, pursuant to which an indemnity clause means that if they get sued for whatever the reason, the government comes in and holds them harmless. Will this change whether or not the government will in fact hold them harmless if they concealed material information from the government? Yeah, I would argue that it should. In the States, if it turns out to be the same fact in the States, alleged fact, that they concealed relevant information, then yeah, that could impact their PrEP Act immunity, because vice vitiates many things. Pfizer chose not to tell regulators about SV40 sequence in COVID shots, Health Canada. A senior Health Canada official says pharma giant Pfizer made a conscious decision not to advise regulators that its mRNA COVID-19 vaccines contained a DNA sequence called simian virus 40, the one that came from monkeys, I think. Apparently it wasn't a big deal. Don't worry about it, but they had to clean up their shots afterwards. This information appears among multiple emails between staff from key drug regulators, including Health Canada, the US FDA, they might be effed, and the European Medicines Agency. Yada, yada, the DSA. Okay, hold on a second here. He wrote an email to the colleague. Health Canada had obtained confirmation 2 weeks earlier from Pfizer that the DNA sequences were in fact present in its vaccine. I understand there have been internal discussions at the Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research regarding the presence is how you spell it in French, presence of an SV40 enhanced promoter sequence, noting that its presence is unrelated to the purpose of Pfizer's plasmid as a transcription template. I mean, I know what these words mean, but Pfizer has communicated to us recently that they are apparently chose not to mention this to EMA, FDA, or Health Canada at the time of their initial subsequent submission. Yeah, that's crimes against humanity, arguably. Oh, don't worry, it doesn't do anything. It's not a big deal. There's no health risk. That's why we chose not to mention it. That's why we basically provided a product that we misrepresented. Yeah, you might be effed, and I hope to. If there is a God, I hope to God that you are effed. Pfizer and Albert Bourla, I'm kind of looking at you. Guy wins a Freedom Award for his crimes against humanity. Mr. McKerna, genomics expert, had found quantities of DNA in the mRNA shots above regulatory threshold set out by health agencies. Smith wrote in the study that he had questions coming to agencies. Epoch Times had contacted Health Canada. Yada yada yada. Find an email. Okay, so what we're going to do here is zero checks. That's the news, and I don't want to take all of this from the Epoch Times. Where's the article? Hold on one second. I'm going to give everybody a link to the article. But that's it. Like the bottom line is we knew this. It was brought to our attention sometime recently, and now it seems that they just outright lied. It's good. It's amazing. Okay, here I'm going to give everybody a link to the article. Bada bing, bada boom, et voila. Link. Cat turd axiom number 1. They lie about everything, says Jabbery 308. And there's some stuff here that I do not understand. Truth over facts, brought to you by Pfizer, says XXX featuring Smurf. That's good. Oh, so some DNA is okay. The vax just had too much DNA. All right. Boom. You know what we're going to do, actually, because we're not going to have too much time on... No. Come on over to Rumble. No, come on over to Locals. We're going to do it. So we're going to have the chat. I'm going to cover a subject before we do that. And then I will post the entire stream on YouTube. And we'll see where it goes from there. I'm just going to refresh here in vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Okay, let's make sure there's no tipped questions that I missed. And there are not. So here's the link. Come on over. If you're not coming over, even if you don't want to watch Jenna Ellis tonight, go watch it because it's going to be fun. And share it. Share it around to promote me, not Jenna Ellis. But you know, it doesn't. I'm just joking. But do it. Do it. Do it. Okay. What else do we got? The current state of prosecutor behavior is a lot like ambulance chasers of old, says It's Flying in Rumble. And it's Roseanne Bar's joke on Twitter. It's saucy. So we'll play it over at vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Tomorrow, I will be live streaming the immunity oral arguments before SCOTUS. What else? Thank you all for being here on Rumble. If you're not coming over, come on over. Come on. Come on. I want to pull a Peter Griffin here. But that's it. Ending on Rumble. Stay tuned for big news. And going over to vivabarneslaw.locals.com. A few more stories and our Locals supporter conversation. Ending. 3, 2, 1. Booyah. All right, Locals. I think we're alone now. Let me see here. I don't allow the evil to infect my brain, says Spices. You realize you can go look at the price of oil right now. All Pfizer. Oh, here we go. Well, Michigan winter days. I missed me winter days. Dems punch us in the gut and Republicans stab us in the back, dropping my own white pill. Wife going into labor, kid number 2 on the way. Happier than a pig in SHI Tizzle. And life is good. Have a great day, everybody. Michigan winter days. God bless, and may you enjoy. Look, watch it all happen. I don't know if you did. All 3 of my kids, I was front and center watching a human expel another human from her vagina. It's the craziest thing on earth. At one point in time during all 3 pregnancies, there was a human head coming out of my wife's vagina. This is not TMI because this is how babies are actually delivered to the world. It was mind-blowing and wild. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this. It might play twice because I'm going to go pee while I play this video. And then I'm going to get an energy drink at the same time. That's funny. I appreciate Roseanne Bar might not be for everybody. Watch this, and I'll be back in 45 seconds. And if it plays twice, Miss Scusi.
What happened, Mom? We're burglars. Are you okay? You look very sure.
No, I'm not okay because I just had a horrible flashback, a horrible memory. Right now, I realize that 26 years ago, Joe Biden raped me right here in that dressing room in the shoe department where I went in to change my shoes.
Oh my God.
He
Where,
raped me in
Bergdorf?
here. Joe Biden. He raped me right here. It's in the shoe department at Bergdorf Goodman.
Are you okay?
No, I'm not. I need to sue. I need to sue.
What happened, Mom? Where Bergdorf? Are you okay? You look very shook.
No, I'm not okay because I just had a horrible flashback, a horrible memory. Right now, I realize that 26 years ago, Joe Biden raped me right here in that dressing room in the shoe
It
department.
played
where
once
I
already,
went
right?
to change my shoes.
Oh my God.
He
Where
raped me in
Bergdorf?
here. Joe Biden. He raped me right here. It's in the shoe department at Bergdorf Goodman.
Are you okay?
Okay, I think it played twice. I want to just show you the tweet reason for which I thought this was relevant. First of all, it might not be everybody's parody, satire, humor. Humor has to be edgy, otherwise it's just not funny. Billy Baldwin, the man whose brother killed someone, the man whose brother assaulted many people, said, "Turn Roseanne into Mike Lindell. Sue Roseanne Bar." That's what I thought was the main takeaway. To which I replied to Billy Baldwin, "Sue her for what, you raging fascist, statist, commie, authoritarian tyrant, whatever the hell you want to call yourself. Sue her for what?" But you see this, like, this is collective madness. This is normalizing and valorizing oppressive behavior. What? I mean, okay, he's being hyperbolic. Don't no. You sue her suggests that what she's doing is wrong. It's edgy humor. If you don't like it, Billy boy, turn your computer off. But it normalizes the tyranny. It normalizes the statism. It normalizes the idea that words should be criminalized or liabilitized. Only one can pull off a bright red leather suit. Roseanne Goat. And so that's the social cultural takeaway from this. You have these people normalizing oppressive conduct. I'm drinking Celsius. I like Celsius, but I don't like sucralose. Oh, crap. This one's not even carbonated. For goodness sake. Now I'm angry. That makes me very angry. Do I throw it out? I can't throw it out. The thing costs $3. Damn it. This was my caffeinated beverage of the day. It's not carbonated, and I don't want the sucralose. Now I've opened it, and I have to. Okay, well, that's going to upset me more than anybody can understand why. And Neurodivergent says, I like sucralose. No, I think sucralose is bad for you. That's my issue with it. Who calls me? Rustang, $3 tip says, Viva, please consider family-operated Honest Paws for your next purchase of shampoo for Winston and Pudge. They offer coconut-scented 5-in-1 oatmeal shampoo for sensitive skin pets. Honest Paws. It's all positives. Okay. Viva, put it in a bottle and shake it very fast. It'll get fizzy. Yeah. No whining. Billy, that's from Finboy Slick. Love and Tulam says, no whining. Cameron 1M says, Billy Baldwin, brother and son to Alex. I'm not sure what that means. Let me see this here. The reason, here you go. Jumpin' Jeff says, the reason Roseanne's parody pisses me off so badly is she gives cover to all the real women Joe raped in department stores, ! No, but it's like we're living through a culture of normalizing tyranny. Okay, now here's it. Bill Brown says, does your wife know you were on Janice? Says Bill Brown. I'm reading from the comments. She heard me. It's a funny thing. Never mind. I don't want to say. Like, my wife knows. There's things that she realistically has to, could worry about. There's things that that she knows she never has to worry about. And infidelity is one of those things. Yeah. Now, what was I about to say here? Okay, so we got here. ND65 says U.S. Rep. Donald Payne Jr., a 6-term Democratic congressman from New York, has died. Fox News confirmed. Balance changes Wednesday. Interesting. Or Wednesday. Balance changes. Equus Glutis says, have you seen the video of Zelensky doing some stupid exotic dance in a red and purple caped up dance? He swivels his hips like he has impressions that he is sexy or something. Gag. So the fact that he thinks for us 60 billion we are sending him most recently, he's like, it's like a whore thanking her John for the pain, and it disgusts me. Every elected official who voted for this shit disgusts me. Yep. Astral Doge plays. I should interview Roseanne. Anybody who can get me in touch with Roseanne. I can't say I would fly her down to Florida because I wouldn't, because I can't and I won't. But my goodness, I would drive out to her. Where is she? Is she in California? I would love to have Roseanne on. And I have a thing that I think I like Roseanne. I love Roseanne because she reminds me of my aunt. I was going to say my favorite aunt, but I don't want to make other aunts jealous, even though I know that they're not watching me. I have an aunt, and I talk about her often. She's the most bubbliest, awesomest, loveliest person on earth. My father's, I just revealed it. Auntie, my father's sister. And Roseanne always reminded me of her. My aunt is not crass at all, but they sort of look the same. They sort of like have that same lovey bubbly feeling. I would love to have Roseanne on for an interview. Are we getting a link to Viva on the Jenna show? I will, Finboy, I'll send it around for sure. Oh, she's in Hawaii? I'm not going to Hawaii. That's too far away. He plays the piano with his... Viva, your wife knows you got lucky once and it'll never happen again. Esren, that's funny because it's true. Okay, so now let me get, our guest should be coming in shortly. Let me just email him before. Okay, so hold on. It was right here. Let me just send I'll tell him when he gets in. No worries. Ready when you are. Bada bing, bada boom. There we go. What else? I did have something else in the backdrop, but let me see what's going on with the chat in Rumble. Oh, do we move this? Hold on, that's not the right. That's definitely not the. Is that the right one? You've seen this. I'm going to refresh this. Finboy Slick, you want me to make another picture of you? She'll fly you to Hawaii for an interview if you do it right. Finboy, do it. I'll put that on Twitter. Put that on if you could. Finboy, yeah. Make a hilarious picture. I'll post it to Twitter and tag Roseanne Bar. That'll be how we do it. Who is coming on? It was oh geez, Luis. Hold on a second. I forget the username, and I don't necessarily want to reveal the. Hold on, it was here. I took a screen grab. I don't always get to all screen grabs. It was Liberty Centric who's coming on. Oh, I'm getting angrier and angrier with this thing as it goes along. This actually has a taste of black licorice in it. Okay, whatever. Okay, hold on. We're going to do this as a community admin. No, okay, I've lost. Hold on. Did I not just close this down? Did I? Okay, that's us. Ooh, I thought I logged me out. So that's it. Liberty Centric is coming on. Roseanne is Jewish, says Sting 17, 1000%. Mighty Piss says yay. Do I switch it to supporter only mode? That's the question, because I wanted to do that for the questions, but maybe we won't do it today. Okay, let me see if I'm seeing our guest in the backdrop. I'm not, so until he gets here, because we did say 2:30-ish. Dang, I keep trying to join the stream and I'm getting an error message from StreamYard. Hold on 1 second. Invite, copy, try this again. Let me send this here. Okay, so hold on. Stick with me here. Bear with me, Brabsh. StreamYard loading. Try here. Let's do this again here. One more time. Maybe try another browser. Okay, it's going to happen, people. Give us a second. I can taste sucralose. I'm convinced. And I read somewhere it gives you an upset stomach. Oh, dear goodness, Finboy. That one might be too much. That one's too much. No pubic hair. We can't see pubic hair, but I am 1, 2, 3, 4. The 8-pack is accurate, although that looks like a 7-pack. I'm looking at Finboy Slick's AI. No, less pubic hair, more clothing, and we can, or at least shorts. Just give me shorts or Tommy John underwear. That'd be fun. Then I can tag Tommy John as well. Okay, let me see if he's getting in. Viva has a 30-pack. I got 2, 4, 6. I used to have, it used to be a clear 8. Now it's sort of like a 7 because the bottom one is a little soft. Okay, so Fabio on the beach. Let's see what that looks. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, now let me go into here. Are we getting? I guess what could possibly be the problem with StreamYard? Well, until we get there, let's do one more thing. I got blocked by somebody on Twitter today. Added to the list. This person tweets out. The article is, or someone tweets out, 5 dead in an apparent murder-suicide at a Yukon, Oklahoma home. It's the father apparently shot his wife and 3 kids. It's horrific. To which the person writes, Shannon Watts, the cause was a man who had easy access to a gun. Solved it for you. Oh, that's so funny. To which I replied with a fair retort. Yep, and here's a story about a woman who had easy access to a bathtub. Everybody remembers this absolutely horrific story. And then I get blocked within 2 minutes because one could not deal with I believe it's a legitimate, fair argument. That bummer. I'm trying to get in on Wi-Fi, on cell data, on VPN without VPN. Chatting now. Okay, so hold on. What we can probably do is reschedule it. And if it doesn't work, we'll give it a couple more minutes. Oh, this is fantastic. I got another good news. It looks like Louis the Lobster. I'm not confirming anything, but it's going to have human-made illustration, and it's going to be beautiful. Okay, I'm going to read that email afterwards. Let's see. Okay, let me see here. I'm just going back. It's not your fault. He's chatting with StreamYard Live now, so let's give it a few more minutes. Let's get some questions in on the chat, people. Who's got what? Okay, we got Viva. What browser is your guest using for best results? Have him use Chrome or Firefox. He's watching now, so we can see it. Viva, some Aussie creator wants to interview with you. It's under one of your posts from yesterday. Mighty Pay. If you can post it here now, that would be easier because I can see it right away. Viva Frei, did you know the world's strongman competitors have a keg, not a 6-pack? SRAM. Oh, I watched the World Strongman. They're like, so you want to talk genetics? I mean, they're typically like Eastern European freaking tanks. And yeah, they are not the defined, chiseled bodybuilder nonsense. It looks good, but it's useless muscle. These guys are just freaking tanks. So yeah, they're not chiseled. Lobster, Jordan Peterson. What do the 2 stories have in common? Oh, the dog is having a dream. Oh, the dog is dreaming, and he's having either a good dream or a bad dream. That's cute. All right, let's see. That lobster picture is amazing. Firefox is often not optimized for the latest, likely to work Chrome better ungoogled. Okay, let me just see if I see him. Okay, good. We're in. Okay, traveling with farm, and it's getting ... Are you ready for me to bring you in? All right, add everybody. Sorry, that was a lot. Okay, I got. Okay, say something. Tell us what your name is, who you are, while I see if the audio levels are good.
All right, my name is Ryan Belikchian. I'm going with traveling with farmerryan.locals.com for this project I'm going to work on.
Dude, okay, now hold on. So now I know you messaged me and said that you have no problem with it going on the internet. I'm going to post the entire stream to YouTube afterwards. They'll have to figure out a way to get the end part on Rumble. If I had to guess, are you in the military?
I get that all the time. I served 13 years with the Coast Guard, and now I'm just making the most of my VA disability check traveling through Central America. on my way down to Colombia to work on a massive project that's been going on for more than 30 years. So
totally cool. I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions. They might not be in line, but when you say you were in 13 years with the Coast Guard.
Correct.
Within the military, is there a hierarchy? I know they call the people the crayon eaters. Those are the
Marine Corps.
Marines. Okay. Where does the Coast Guard, what level does it take on this hierarchy? Who's at the top and who's at the bottom?
I mean, I put the Marine Corps at the top, and then I mean, we're puddle pirates. We get a lot of mockery, but it's all in good fun. Anybody who mocks the Coast Guard that doesn't have any service experience, it's like, dude, I joined to join a life-saving organization, not to join a life-taking one. That's how I always looked at it.
And the question was tongue-in-cheek. I don't place any hierarchy. Everybody who serves is, more selfless and braver than many. I'm going to ask the question. Okay, no, hold on. We're going to start from the beginning. Where are you from?
Born and raised in San Jose, California. I always have to put the disclaimer. I haven't lived there in like over 20 years. So it isn't what it was when I grew up there.
And how old are you now?
I'm 40.
Very nice. I got to ask, how tall are you? Because I'm thinking you're 6'2".
I'm 6'1".
Okay, I'm getting good at...
We have a photo taken when we were in Chattanooga where you, me, and Barnes are next to each other, and it's like I'm a good inch or two taller than Barnes, so I think your perception of height is a little skewed.
It's skewed by life experience. You're born and raised in San Jose. What did your parents do? How many siblings?
I'm the youngest of three. I have an older brother and a sister in the middle, and he's 4 years older than me. She's 2 years older than me. So we got a good spacing. My dad was back in the day, he was a transcendental meditation teacher, and he traveled around doing a lot of meditation courses and things like that. And then in the 80s, he had a family to raise, and he's jumped around from a ton of jobs. And he made his hay as a technical recruiter in the late 90s in the high-tech industry in Silicon Valley.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, he's 82 years old. I just spent the winter with him in Tucson, Arizona.
Okay, amazing. Tucson, it's the most beautiful place on earth, or one of them. Transcendental meditation. Now, I'm biased by my own life experience because I was just listening to Joe Rogan with Michelle Dowd talking about cults, and I can't hear the word transcendental meditation without immediately thinking cults. Your dad was not in a cult, was he?
No.
It
gets that stigma. And, I get it. In the 80s, they lost a court case in New Jersey that said that transcendental meditation was a religion. And then again, in the most recently, there was the one in Chicago where the girl won a settlement. It settled out of court saying that she was forced to pray to a pagan god of the Hindu culture, of the Hindu religion. But Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, the guy that taught the Beatles to meditate, the Beach Boys to meditate, and all those guys back in the day, he was really trying to distance it from religion specifically, and just having it be it's a specific technique that helps you process your physiological stresses and things along those lines. I remember you talking about trying to be silent and have no thoughts. That's not what meditation is about. Transcendental meditation is about, like, you're at the surface level. The way they describe it, or one of them describes it, is somebody described it, is you're at the surface level of the ocean where there's all the tumultuousness and the waves, and the deeper you get, the more calm it is. And so your thoughts kind of go away, and then they circle back, and you come back to the surface, and then you go deep again. And I found it to be a really valuable technique to add to my kit.
Hold on, I got a follow-up question. I just got to let this dog out of here because she's going to start whining. Hold on. Okay. Now, again, it's my own biases, or at least preconceived notions or stereotypes. Are there any psychedelics involved in transcendental meditation, or not necessarily?
There's no drug use involved with it. In fact, it's like recommended to help people get away from drug use. And that's part of the project I'm going down to work with is Hogares Claret's foundation with Father Mejia. the David Lynch Foundation did a documentary. I sent you a link on the short video trailer that they did on that, where they really just Father Mejia. Okay, so there you have a Catholic father. I don't know what the other proper term is for that, but he's teaching he's been taught transcendental meditation, and he says it's just deepened his faith in God. So they're doing a combined effort where they're using both transcendental meditation and Catholicism with the concept of like the prodigal son returning and treating these children who have been orphaned by cartel violence, by drug addiction, child trafficking victims, all these horrible experiences of their lives as children. And it's reformed their country. From in the early 90s, they were the murder capital of the world in Medellin, and now it's a top 10 retirement city. So it's correlation, not causation, but it's a pretty significant correlation.
The shirt you're wearing, does it have anything to do with it?
No, this is the old Kobe Bryant symbol, and I don't have. Today's laundry day, and this is one.
Now everyone's gonna think I'm a total idiot. I saw transcendental meditation and heard, it looks like a cross form could be in there, so I thought maybe it had. It's very cool. All right, so now, okay, so we're gonna get into this because obviously you're doing this now, and it's gonna do a full circle. When do you leave San Jose, California? You live there until what age?
Well, I'll give you the life story rundown on travel, because I got around. From birth, I was born in San Jose, California. Family moved to Santa Barbara. By the time I was 3, we moved to New Jersey. So from 3 to 6, I was in New Jersey, which was a cool experience that I actually can remember. I mean, I'm 40 years old, but I can remember being like 4 or 5 years old and going cross country skiing in some parks across the street from our house, and like silly little things like taking my big wheeler to my 3-wheel trike to wherever my mom went to pick up my sister, like a mile or 2 away on my big wheel, because I was like, oh, I'm okay to be left alone. And then I was like, no, I'm left alone. And I was sought after. So that's like 4 years old on a big wheel trying to get, I don't know if I even know where that was, but where I was going. But they picked me up and got me home the rest of the way. And but I mean, like I'm so okay. Madison, New Jersey. One other funny memory is I was bigger. I was always bigger than most kids as a child, and I had them help me push the little picnic bench to the fence, those little half fences, and I hopped over the fence and like took off to like ditch preschool. And I remember looking over my shoulder and seeing a teacher wheel around the corner, running down the street after me. I stopped at the corner, looked both ways, and then she caught me. So. But
all right. that I think is going to be representative of of a trajectory in life, as at least as a mentality of a kid. All right, and so then you end up in San Jose later on. For the better part of
from 6 to 18, I lived in San Jose, California, and then family moved to Santa Barbara again, and my dad tried to retire, kind of got back into work. Money does that, and then he ended up. So I was like 19 years old, had a motorcycle accident, nothing devastating. Was going to college, wasn't really doing anything with it. Was bored. My older brother was still living at home, and I was like, I got to get out of here. I'm 20 years old, still living at home, not really doing anything. So I joined the Coast Guard, and boot camp to Valdez, Alaska. And so I've been to 49 out of the 50 states, and Puerto Rico is one of the territories I visited as well.
Well, hold on. What state, which is the one that you haven't been to?
Hawaii.
Oh, so I would have thought well, okay, so that's, oh, dude, you haven't been to, I mean, not that it's the best one. I was there for my honeymoon with my wife in 2007. And another time when I got there, I had a sinus infection for the first 7 days of our 10-day, and it was just miserable. But it's a beautiful place. So you haven't been to Hawaii, but everywhere else in continental North America, or continental America, what is boot camp like for the Coast Guard?
It's way more mentally intense than anything. They're just trying to deprive you of sleep and make you do stupid things so you can develop followership, because that's what they want right out of the gate. They want followers, not leaders. They're not trying to develop you into leadership roles. Boot camp for an enlisted man, they just need cogs for the machine.
Now, Are you on ships the entire time, pretty much, or is that
No,
a misconception?
I did just short of 5 years out of my 13 on boats, like on a 378 foot Coast Guard cutter. And
Shut up! 5 years of your life on a boat.
Yeah, 5 years attached to the ship, and then we're in port for 2 to 3 months. We're underway for 2 to 3 months, back and forth. So it's like, of those 5 years, probably like 2.5 at sea.
No, but
so
that's
2.5. Yeah,
that's wild. And you're at sea for months at a time on a ship. You say 398 feet long.
378, but yeah, it was. So it's like 378 foot Coast Guard cutter out of Seattle, Washington, U.S. Coast Guard cutter midget. That's where I cut my teeth on my like real Coast Guard experience. Very first patrol, we got a good drug bust, but in hindsight, it's like, what did we get? We got some drugs that we probably sold back to the cartels to ship back to America. Like, thanks CIA, DEA. Like, you know,
This
kind
is
of salty me a little bit.
This is what the boat looks like.
Yeah.
So you're on a ship like this. How many people are on a ship like this? A vessel.
Oddly enough, that one had less than 100 people on it. So it was very bizarre in my experience that I went from that Coast Guard cutter midget out of Seattle that was 100 feet plus longer than the 270 out of Portsmouth, Virginia that I ended up on later, that had 176 people on it. I was like, we're packed in there like sardines. Like, it was really, that one sucked.
I can't. First of all, I can't imagine being on a boat. I was on a boat, like doing a sleepover on a yacht thing in Newfoundland, and I got claustrophobic in one night. When you're on a boat out at sea with 100 and some odd people, are there assholes that make it unlivable, or that everybody knows are assholes? Do people get along very well? What do you do for fresh air? How do you get out? Like, what's life like?
Well, as a junior enlisted man at the time, I was on bridge watch. So I'd go up to the bridge for 4 hours at a clip, and I'd be standing 1 hour of lookout, 1 hour of helmsman. So you're going from taking orders on steering the ship to standing up on the flying bridge on top of the ship. In a Coast Guard uniforms are like dark navy blue, so that sucked, especially in the South Pacific and the Caribbean later. But so you manage. We'll do a morale night on the mess deck, and we'll have like trivia night and things like that. People for the most part get along, but yeah, you got a lot of people in tight quarters. Things happen and behavior, people rub each other the wrong way, and some people sneak alcohol on board, which I didn't come across personally until much later in my career, which I didn't do it. And I was surprised that the people who did it, but you
just stick it in a water bottle. I mean, I know the trick is you shake it hard and see if it makes small bubbles versus big bubbles.
We had a dehumidifier in the ship's office, and when I went from being a bosun mate, which is more small boat navigation, big ship navigation, small boat driving, and more like involved in law enforcement things, to logistics, doing purchasing, shipping, receiving, inventory control, property management, catch all of all the bullshit paperwork. These guys were keeping liquor in the dehumidifier where it would know. So I was like, oh, that's why it's never running, because you guys are just storing your booze in there.
Oh, and from what I understand, if toilets don't flush entirely, it could be because there's something displacing water in the back of the reservoir of the toilet.
On the ship, they use vacuum, so it's a vacuum flush, like on an airplane.
Okay, very cool. So you're on this ship. I've got to ask for personal curiosity. Worst storm that you've ever been involved in? Were you involved in massive waves and things that make you think you're going to die?
There was only like 2 experiences where I thought I was going to die, and one of which was in the Bering Sea. We're going through seas that are like 20 plus foot waves, and it was like 30. No, I thought eyeball. I said 35 to 40 foot waves, and the wind by knots was over 35 knots per hour. So we ended up being what it was in a category class 5 hurricane when you combine the winds plus the sea state. I think it's class 5. Whatever the lowest class hurricane is, that was the storm. That shit was wild.
When the boat goes up, because you take him head on, when it goes up the tip, waves are crashing over the tip of the boat.
Oh yeah. Burying the bow
Okay.
is what we would call that.
Yeah, that would be, and people puking all over the place.
Those sea states weren't actually as bad for people's seasickness. When you get in what you call the trough of the Caribbean, on a smaller boat like the 270 we had, smaller. When you're on a 270-foot Coast Guard cutter in the Caribbean, you're getting pushed around like you're in a bathtub. It sucks. Like you get in the trough is of the Caribbean is like you got cross currents. So it's not just a steady sea state. You've got sea states coming across. So you're getting kind of like all this. That's the rough one. That's the rough one.
Interesting. Amazing. Okay, so now you're in the Army. You're in the Coast Guard for 13 years.
Yeah.
The Coast Guard this is going to be another stupid question, but do you get deployed to conflict, or is it for national crises?
A lot of emergency response, but the Coast Guard is in Bahrain doing port security because there's naval assets there, and the Coast Guard does things out of Bahrain, Bahrain, or the Kingdom of Bahrain. So I don't know what their actual involvement is in things like that, other than you need to, for the Navy to do a boarding, they need a Coast Guard LEDET, law enforcement detachment, on board. So they raise up the Coast Guard ensign, our flag, and then they can go on board naval vessels, and then they can go on board like freighters and oil tankers and all these things and do inspections and search them. But they need us to do that.
Okay, amazing.
Which is the nice little thing we can needle the Navy over. It's like, you need us.
Now I'm gonna ask another stupid question. You're not on a boat right now?
No, I'm in a hostel / hotel in San Juan del Sur, Nicaragua. But they've hooked me up. Like, dude, we're $15 a night, like, and I'm alone in a room.
No, we're getting there in a second. So 13 years in the Coast Guard, and you get out, and when you get out, you're 33. Or maybe the younger, 31.
So I joined when I was 20, so I was right around 33 years old, and but I do. So the woman that kind of forced me out, she fit the hate hoax nonsense that we've experienced over the recent years. She actually wrote N-word lover on sticky notes and put them around the office that we were working at on people's doors. And CJIS, Coast Guard Investigative Services, went around and did they probably did fingerprinting, but they did handwriting analysis.
Yeah.
Like what Barnes has been talking about. So they did handwriting analysis and found that she was the one that wrote N-word lover on these sticky notes and put them on people's doors. She was trying to create she was a hostile bitch. She was the worst.
Black or white? She's black.
Yes.
No, because I don't even understand what the idea was. Like, who would write that? I'm trying to even understand like what the rationale is. Like, you're going to put that on a white person and think it's a criticism, and then okay, so I don't understand the rationale behind trying to do this. This is someone in the Coast Guard who's
she was a senior warrant officer, chief warrant officer, Rosie Ross, absolute bitch. I can say whatever I want about her now, no repercussions.
Well, it made the news, I presume, right?
Probably not. It probably got swept under the rug. I heard about it from friends that were still working there after I'd gotten out. And they told me, I was like, yeah, well, I told you she was a liar when she tried to throw me under the bus for some bullshit. And I ended up having a car accident like December 2012, and I got out December 2015. I got out in June of 2016 because they were just harassing me to get back to full duty. I was like, dude, I got neck issues, shoulder issues. Like, I'm fucked up. Leave me alone.
Well, I gotta understand this. So I don't know what was her position again? The woman, Rosie?
She was the chief warrant officer 4, which is she was the SUPO supply officer.
Okay, so what year is this, give or take?
This was for her when she did this, probably 2016, 2017.
Were you in the Coast Guard at that time?
I had gotten out in June of 2016.
So this scandal comes about that there are spontaneous notes appearing on vessels or in training quarters.
It's so that unit that I was attached to was more of an office style building. But the team that I worked for deployed. They did bullshit, fake. They're the fake. They want to be Navy SEALs. Like, it's so weird that we even took on. We got boats that we took over the responsibilities of the Navy SEALs that would have done extractions during United Nations General Assemblies up in New York City. So we would do a detail to where we would be like standing by. They even went. They've got like the multi-cam uniforms. Like okay, guys, yeah.
But so spontaneously these notes start appearing. It becomes a big scandalous issue, and nobody knows who's writing them, why they're writing them, and there's an investigation that determines if this person had been writing them based on forensic handwriting analysis.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was she sanctioned for this, or punished, or expelled?
Honestly, I forgot the details of it, and I didn't really pursue it. I just told my friends that were still working there. I was like, "Well, I told you so." And I was just like, "Not my problem, brother."
Wild. Okay, and so then you get out. You're out at the time of this, and what do you do? Like, what happens after you spend 13 years in the Coast Guard? What do you do for work when you get out?
I did government contracting, doing the logistics aspect of things, and it was boring, and it was just a job to pay the bills, and ended up getting relief from that after conflict with the civilian project manager. We just didn't get along, and she was like, "Well, why don't you just quit?" I'm like, "Well, because I've got a mortgage to pay."
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't always do what you want. You do what you have to. So until now, where I'm just doing what I want.
Okay. Now, so you get out of that contract job, give or take. When and how does that lead into what you're doing now? And what are you doing now?
So that was probably 2018, early 2018. I left that work and I just drove for Uber and Lyft for a few months. Then I was planning to move cross country to Arizona, and my dad at the time had been living in Fairfield, Iowa, which is where Maharishi International University is out of. And I had just started getting back to my meditation. And I've had my meditation technique initially since I was like 10 or 12 years old. Parents were both.
What does that mean, a meditation technique?
It just means, like I was saying, with like you go deep. Well, you use your mantra to go deep. But you don't focus on your mantra. You have your mantra, you say your mantra, and you fall into like a deeper state. Thoughts come and go, and then your mantra comes back, and it's like 15, 20 minutes of that, and that's meditation.
Is a mantra a word, a sound, or could it be a sentence?
It's a Sanskrit word. The one that I'd had way back was ing, ing, essentially. That's the sound that I was going to for my mantra as a child. But because it was forced upon me, I didn't have any interest in it. If it had been presented to me in the state of like, this can benefit you in your sports, this can benefit you in your academic achievements, like this can really help you focus on things. So I probably would have been more receptive to it, especially. So I glossed over this.
No. Yeah,
Little League baseball, played soccer, rollerbladed in the 90s and skateboarded in the 90s, and wasn't really that good at those. But all other like sports related things, I've always just been able to pick up and have a go at. I wrestled in high school as a light heavyweight and heavyweight. Even when I lost, I was down to like 190 pounds, and they were still having me wrestle heavyweights because, go up in weight, you tend to be faster than those guys. You know how that is.
No, I was wrestling at 155. I could still make that. I could make that weight over the weekend, but hold on a second.
I can make heavyweight.
Yeah, so no, dude, you also look rather well built in a good muscular. The question was this though. You said it was forced upon you. Was that the particular mantra or meditation as a practice? Meditation
as a practice. It wasn't really presented as an option. It was just like parents got us taught, and we had the technique. Now, and I came back to it at like 35, and I was just like, there's so much benefit to this. But it also coincided with me quitting drinking, and like I had to do a self-evaluation on that, like pros and cons. The only pro I could come up with was social lubricant. All the cons of the health aspects and health detriments, and then the money not being able to feel uncomfortable to work out the next day, can't really work out the same day if you drink. All those things kind of just led me to a mostly sober life.
I was going to say something about I was going to show you how neurotic I am. Like what your mantra is ing, and I don't want to ruin it, but does it not ruin it that you think of ING, the company, every time you're doing it?
No, well, that was my mantra. When I came back to it, I ended up getting a new mantra, and I don't share that one.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't say it. I'll find a way to ruin it for you. You'll have to find another one. And so now, we'll say mostly sober or mostly clean. I'll ask you, like, I stopped drinking. I stopped having a drink just to see how it felt for like, I think I made it to like almost a month. But like I said, at some point you make a decision. It's either something you never do again for the rest of your life, or it's the thing that you do and you stop worrying about the some stuff about it. Like to the extent it's not a problem. Did you feel radically different? And at what point did you notice that you were feeling radically different after keeping it away from you?
Pretty much after I quit drinking for a month and started doing like a ketogenic style diet, I'd gotten all the way up to like 270 pounds. I was not feeling good about myself. And so the mental issues, I wasn't depressed, but I was unhappy. So, I still have my vices. Here's like some box of cigars I picked up.
Well, they say drinking's like smoking a pack of cigarettes. I'm joking. Well, they do say that, but I'm not sure I believe it. You got up to 270. That's. Yeah. And what are you at now, if I may ask?
I'm not sure. I haven't stepped on a scale in over 2 months because usually you have to pay to use a scale at the gym down here, and I'm not really concerned. I go on how my clothes fit, and they're comfortable. So I'm guessing I'm in the 230 to 240 range. I do a lot of fasting, so I'm looking forward to getting a nice prolonged fast as I drive through Costa Rica because the food is really expensive there.
How prolonged fast is how long? And that you can drink water, right?
Yeah, I mean, drinking coffee right now. Had a cigar this morning, drinking water, and I've done up to 10 days, but I do 5 to 7 days. I just did a 4-day fast, and then
hold on. What do you drink water, but do you drink fluids that have nutrients? You can't do water only.
I drink a lot of soda water. I add potassium. I have some potassium citrate and potassium gluconate, and do I have creatine? I have some minerals that I add sodium. I drink soda water a good deal, so I do get salt, and I'm not just depleting all my electrolytes.
Okay.
Oh yeah, so potassium for sure is important for that. Honestly, I have so much. I still have a good amount of body fat, so I can just do a prolonged fast and shed it off.
Now, so we were at 2018. You're doing Lyft, or with Uber, Lyft, I forget which.
Yeah.
And you go back to Iowa.
Yeah, I go see my dad in Iowa. He was living there. Got pulled over at gunpoint on the way.
Why?
Colacoith, Ohio. So my U-Haul had been flagged as stolen in Houston, Texas, like a few months prior. And supposedly it had been reported as recovered, but that didn't go out to all points and didn't get updated in the system. So I get pulled over, and so I got pulled over because I changed lanes, but then realized the lane I changed into was going to exit the wrong direction. So I put my blinker on to go back into the correct lane, and the cop that was over my left shoulder pulled in behind the U-Haul and just ran the plates. And then after a while, when he got his supervisor out there with him, they ended up pulling me over with a felony stop procedure, which is where they pull you over at gunpoint and scream at you to get out of the car and come back to the sound of their voice. And 2 months prior, 2 months prior, I'd torn my meniscus. So my right knee was effed, and other medical issue that I won't go into because it's kind of gross. But so I'm walking backwards to the sound of their voice, and I'm like turning over my shoulder, and I'm wearing a fanny pack because it was Joe Rogan peak era. And I had my 9mm in my fanny pack because traveling, ease of access. I didn't have the magnets under the to the side of the steering wheel at the time.
This is like my worst. You've got a gun in your fanny pack as you're being pulled over at gunpoint. I mean, I saw. Well, okay, all right. And do you tell them? Obviously, I have a firearm. And do you tell them or do you wait?
Well, let me run through the silliness of the exit of the vehicle. So I'm sitting in my car and I'm just waiting. I'm listening to a baseball game and I'm waiting for them to come up to my window. So the window's up. I'm waiting for them to come up and knock. And they, eventually I crack my window and I hear them yelling, "Stick your hands out the window." I'm like, what the fuck? What's happening? I didn't do anything. I changed lanes. Like, that's all my crime was. And I used a blinker, so it really wasn't. It was just a random plate run. But so I stick my hands out the window. And they're like, open the car door and exit the vehicle. And I'm like, I'm still wearing my seatbelt. Like, okay, reach back in with your right hand and unbuckle. I'm like, oh, fuck's sake, getting out. I'm like, I get out and I turn towards them, which big no. Turn around, face away from us, come back to the sound of our voice. I'm trying to walk backwards to the sound of their voice. I'm wearing flip-flops, a tank top, and gym shorts, like, in a fanny pack.
With a 9mm.
Yeah. And so I'm trying to come back and I've got a knee injury. Try walking backwards with like a torn meniscus. Not a lot of fun. So I'm like I'm touching my car to guide me back and not fall down. And at one point I'm like, I don't know if they even asked if I have any firearms on me or in my car. And I just announced it. I have a gun on, and they're like, where is it? It's like, on my person, like, as my hands are gradually getting higher and higher so they can't say that he reached for it, and
holy hell.
I was like, I even said, it's like, I'm a disabled veteran, I have a knee injury, I'm trying to come back to you, like trying to turn and see where I'm going so I don't trip and fall, and face forward, like, walk backwards in flip-flops with a blown out knee and try and like not fall down. Good times. And then so they cuffed me. I was just like, and they're like, where's your gun? I was like, it's in the fanny pack. Just take the whole fanny pack off me. Like, what am I going to do with it? I don't need it on me. Get cuffed, get put in the back of a car for like 2 hours, I think, almost. Like, I was there for a long time. And it was icebox in his cruiser. I was like, at one point, I was like, hey, can you turn the AC down? Like, I'm just wearing a tank top and gym shorts. I'm freaking dying here. And he told me he said, it's a good thing you told me that that you had a knee injury. I was like, why is that? Because normally I would have put you on the ground. I was like, if you had thrown me to the ground, that would have escalated things and we'd have been fighting. Like, I've got my wrestling background, years of Brazilian jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai training. These are all fake. Took a knee to the chops that fractured a couple teeth. So, but like, this guy, these are cops. Just like, I would have thrown you to the ground because it's a felony stop, not because we had any reasonable articulable suspicion other than your stolen U-Haul trailer. Like, oh, and who was the suspect in that? 47-year-old black man out of Houston, Texas. You see white hands go out the window. I'm not the person that stole this. Like, come on. C'est la vie.
And so it ended well. You went on your way after a
it actually worked out because they ended up taking the trailer because they had to, like, with all my stuff. And then I was just like, I just drove off with my car and U-Haul shipped my stuff the rest of the way to Fairfield, Iowa, which, it's a little burden off my gas tank. They shipped it.
That's so. This is. I just remember the video of Daniel Shaver, the guy who got swatted. The SWAT was giving him unreasonable orders, and then they basically shot him and killed him. It's one of those not viral videos. It's one of those horrendous cases. It never got media attention, or not as much as other less deserving cases. I think
where
it was
they
Daniel
give conflicting
Shaver.
instructions.
The instructions were impossible. They were impossible, and he had a girl with him. The girl, they say, hand behind your back, they go and they cuff her. For him, it was like an IQ test. It was designed to make him do something stupid because one guy wanted to kill him and killed him. It was the most disgusting video I've ever seen. But all right, now, so then you do that. How do you get into what are you doing now? And what are you doing now? Travel with Farmer Ryan.
So I got into at that time, I was really excited about the farm bill passing with hemp legalization, but it was like a kind of a scam. It's like, yeah, it passed, but you still have to test every single hemp plant for THC value. And it's like, well, what are we doing? What's this THC value nonsense for hemp? if we're using it for grain, or if we're using it for the oil, or if we're using it for tinctures or all these other purposes, this sub 0.03% THC, it's just an unreasonable expectation to test every single plant. And it just creates an undue burden to try and make it monopolized and keep, big oil, big timber, big pharma, all those people in control of all the systems. So I was excited about hemp. I was looking at getting into hemp farming. Took a course in regenerative organic agriculture at what was Maharishi International University in Fairfield, Iowa. Moved in with my dad for a couple of years when I did that. Used my Veterans Affairs GI Bill to pay for that. And then I did a camping trip across Canada where I drove from Fairfield, Iowa to being at the Grand Canyon in about 2 days, and then camped up the entire California coast, Oregon, Washington, Victoria Island, Vancouver, all the way across Canada. Ended up in, jumped in the Bow River along the way. Ended up in Halifax area.
That's straight up across from coast to coast. Halifax is on the Atlantic coast. Like that's maritime. Yeah. That's amazing.
So I'm a little bit of a road warrior. I love to just be on the road. And honestly, part of my experience with the Coast Guard, you moved from station to station. I moved from stationed in Alaska to go to training in Northern California, stationed in Seattle. From Seattle, I got stationed in Yorktown, Virginia for training. So I took extra time off and I drove down to San Jose to see family, drove all the way across country. Did that one time in like 3 days, which was nuts. And then, so I've driven across the country probably like 8 times.
That's wild.
And so now, I go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say no wife, no kids.
No, unfortunately not yet.
Because I tell you that
good thing about being a man,
Well, no, I was gonna say that makes it impossible. You can't drive across the country with maybe with a wife, but kids, holy cows, they got to have a good attention span.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's amazing. Oh, sorry. Now, what were you gonna say?
I just want to get back to regenerative organic agriculture is what I got my degree in. It was during 2020, so that was a fun time to be going to college. And like I remember getting emails from the school nurse saying, if you're not vaccinated, you should consider getting it, blah, blah, blah. It's like, man, federal funding just controlling these people. And it was weird because transcendental meditation is generally something people do to reduce their stress. And this was at a university where every student practices or is at least taught transcendental meditation. We meditate as a group to develop coherence, and it's a consciousness-based education system to where you take one class or one course for an entire month, block system, 2 hours in the morning, meditate together before lunch, 2 hours in the afternoon, meditate at the end of the class, at the end of the day. So I completed my degree in regenerative organic agriculture, graduated in 2021 and moved to Guatemala, lived there for most of the pandemic nonsense. And then ended up going back to the US. So we met in Chattanooga. And at that time I was living in Romney, West Virginia, running a organic agriculture project at a men's meditation retreat associated with the TM movement, which tm.org, Transcendental Meditation.
Okay, fine. Didn't know what TM was. Okay.
Sure.
Cool.
Yeah. I just wanted, so tm.org, those folks, they're doing good work the world over, are trying to, and the US tends to subsidize it. So I've heard Mark Robert complain that it's like $800 to get a mantra. I'll give you a mantra. You don't even have to give me 500. Like he's a goof. He's funny about it. I talked to him about it when I met him at the 60th anniversary JFK assassination in Dallas. So him and Eric were good people. But so we met when I was running an organic agriculture project out of Romney, West Virginia, for their group that is on this mountainside, just trying to do hours of meditation, close proximity to Washington, to try and encourage positive energy for the government. It's like, yeah, good luck with that, but I appreciate the effort. And so then one of my friends who I'd gone to MIU with, he ends up on a 2-week or a 1-week retreat at the mountainside, and he's working with me. And I asked him about. I told him that my intention would be to get back down to Colombia and work with Father Mejia and Hogares Claret's Foundation, where they've been doing this work with the children. You know, it's been so successful down there that the government's turned over juvenile detention centers and given them to Hogares Claret's Foundation, because it's actually, instead of like what we have in the US, where, you know, Barnes rightfully critiques the recidivism rate and the psychopathy of go to juvenile detention to become a better criminal and then end up in the main system to become a better criminal with all those nutbags. So what they've done there is they take these kids that may have been petty criminals or sicarios, even like that's dark. Children murderers, like that's really dark. But they gave them Catholicism, they give them transcendental meditation, they give them love. You know, more than anything, they don't blame them for their actions. They blame the evil of the action isn't on the child. It's like, you should know better than to kill somebody, but
sicarias are hired killers, or
Yeah.
they kid. I think I know the term roughly. What age? How young to how old? I mean, at some point,
from 9 to 17, but they offer this to young adults in their early 20s as well. They do it as a drug rehabilitation offering. Some people who have the means, they'll pay to send family members to it to get them. I think it's like a 9-month or so course that they go through, and it just really spoke to my heart and just felt like something I really wanted to be involved with. And my friend, we have now a mutual friend who she flies down from Fairfield, Iowa to Columbia regularly, like multiple times a year, and that's where she puts all her surplus income to help this foundation grow and to help the children. And they have organic agriculture projects down there that are not related to the movement with the children, but they grow herbs that are like, have you heard of the term Ayurvedic?
No.
So there's Ayurvedic herbs that are like turmeric I don't know if turmeric could actually fall in it, but like ashwagandha, and these different, there's these different.
Say the word again. How do you spell it?
Ayurvedic, Ayurvedic.
Okay. Ayurvedic medicine is a system of traditional medicine native to India, which uses a range of treatments, including panchakarma, 5 actions, yoga, massage, acupuncture, herbal medicine. Alternative medicine system with historical roots in the Indian subcontinent. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so he put me in touch with this now mutual friend, and I told her I'd like to get down there. I'd like to do a project working with the kids, ideally taking this proof of concept of what they've done there back to the US, but also giving them a third pillar where these kids are getting their hands in the soil and getting the healing benefit of, you know, actually grounding, as well as giving them a skill set to where they can feed themselves, monetize it, work for somebody, or start their own farm. So that's my goal. And their expectation is that I get down there and I work with their organic agriculture folks and develop my Spanish speaking skills, because they are lacking. I only speak a little Spanish, but it's coming along little by little.
And so you're literally on your way down.
Yeah.
How are you getting there? Is this driving, hitchhiking, boating?
TDI, Jetta wagon. I loaded it up with all my stuff.
TDI. Okay, that's freaking wild. Oh, sorry, what is the destination country again?
It's going to be Colombia, but
okay.
I know I have to get around the Darien Gap because you can't go through it. So I will have some posts on that when I get close to it, because we all know the Pan American Highway just dead ends at some wooded base that I believe Michael Yon has talked about, which now with my haircut and my body weight, we kind of look similar. So I'll be down in that area, and I'll probably do some short videos on my traveling with farmerryan.locals.com, but I haven't really posted a lot of those. It's mostly been, blog posts about me traveling, smoking cigars, drinking coffee, and meeting people.
I'm going to pull up a map, because it's not the Google map. I love those much more than this. You're driving down from
I drove from Tucson, Arizona, through Mexico, through Guatemala, through El Salvador, which I loved El Salvador. The people there were great, and it felt so safe even walking around their San Salvador late at night.
And now
so
you're in Nicaragua. What's
Yeah.
the name of the gap? I know I've heard this word.
The Darien Gap,
Darien Gap.
D-A-R-I-N. If you zoom in on like the Colombia-Panama border area,
Yeah.
you can go all the way in and you'll see like the road just stops. And then it's like
Oh, here it is. Oh, they got Darien National Park.
That's it. Yeah, see that road just ends.
So what the hell? That's
Yeah,
where the road ends.
Yeah.
How do you get, so you got to get on a boat and bypass it and go to
Yeah. I'm gonna foot the bill to ship my vehicle around the Darien Gap, which that's where it gets kind of fun. I'm looking at either shipping it to Buenaventura or Cartagena, but if the price is comparable, go ahead.
The road ends. This is what people are referring to, how illegals are crossing the Darien Gap on foot.
Yeah.
This is jungle.
Yep.
No roads. This is so hold on. The Darien Gap refers to this entire. I'm using my hand.
Yeah.
No, you can't say it. This entire area from Yavisa Road to the next nearest road is, I don't know where
far
we're
far away.
62.
Yeah,
Holy
it's crazy.
crap! So you can drive down to South America. That's where the road literally ends.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a nervous person. Yavisa. This must be this. I mean, am I wrong for thinking this is a scary place, Yavisa?
Yeah, I'm not trying to really spend much time there or really even. I don't even know if I will. I probably will, just because you only live life once. So.
Yeah, but you only get into serious trouble once. Also, I'm like, okay, sorry, not to be the negative naysayer, sissy, which is what I am.
So many people have been like, "Oh, you really sure you want to do that? That sounds dangerous." Yeah, it's like,
dude, it is. I don't think it sounds. Let me just hear Yavisa, intentional homicide rate. This is what I do whenever I go traveling. List of countries by intentional homicide rates, but Yavisa is not a country, although it's in the darkest portion of the greater than 20 per 100,000. I'm gonna look this up because this is like I love to imagine. I would never go. Period. Full stop. But I'm gonna go look up some pictures. So you're gonna go down there, then you're gonna get your boat. So is half of this adventure is the journey down?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have a secure contract by the time you get down there? It's not like the risk that you get there and they say,
I'm a volunteer. It's whatever.
So, and you're doing this by living off your, is it called the VA? The VA?
Yeah, VA disability. I have a VA disability check that I get every month. It gets deposited into my checking account.
That's guaranteed. So you don't need to worry about that. That's for life.
Right.
And that's okay. That's
unless I commit a felony, then the government doesn't take money away.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, I was going to say, let's say they're going to deny you Secret Service protect, or the Disgrace Act. So you get that. That's why so you can budget, you can plan, and this is just a wild adventure.
Yep.
Where are you documenting this? On Locals, traveling with farmerryan.locals.com.
Yep.
Is it on YouTube as well?
No, I was looking to do a Rumble, and I just kind of didn't. I think I have a Rumble account, but I don't. I really just been watching you guys on there for the last few years, and catching up with Russell Brand and Glenn.
Well, this is
Reed.
I'm going to go see this, but you have to let me. I'm just going to go to the.
I should have had a dash cam. I really regret not.
You need a GoPro, a dash cam, Google goggles. I don't know. Forget the Google goggles. What was I looking for? I'm trying to get to the local so I can bring it up at the same time. Okay, I'm getting my windows confused here. What the fudge is my problem here? Why is it called travel? I mean, I think it's obvious, but Farmer Ryan. Why? Because it's a farm.
That's what my education. Well, that's my educational background is in regenerative organic agriculture. I posted a couple of times on the vivabarneslaw.locals.com to get you guys to get people to give me feedback on like, what do you suggest I name this? Gave like 3 or 4 options, and it's a little long-winded. It's a little longer than I'd like it to be. I'd rather it just be like Farmer Ryan, but then it's like, what, you're going to come to my page to see me do farming, but and it's really more about the journey, and the end goal of this is to be working with the children and to develop or to take that proof of concept, come back to the US and be like, here we go. You know,
the license plate on the car that you're using, is it Arizona?
Yeah.
Does that get looks when you're in freaking Nicaragua? Like, how the hell did you get down here, Arizona boy?
I mostly get looked at from the front because I don't have a front license plate. So I get pulled over here and there. I've had to pay a few bribes. It's kind of annoying because it's like, really? Oh yeah, no front license plate. And like, I speak enough Spanish to understand when they're telling me like, no tienes un plato. I'm like, yeah, it's solo uno plato in Arizona. Solo uno. Like, okay, like, so this one woman pulled me over because I changed lanes between cones. And then she said, "It's like, how am I supposed to know? The cones are 100 meters apart. I'm like, I can't change lanes to pass a guy here. Like, okay." And then I told her, I was like, I only have 280 Cordobas, which is like $8 US. And so she hands me this little laminated sheet with like the price for each violation. And then she's like, "Tienes un traductor? Do you have a translator?" So we did the translation, and she's just like, "Leave me something," is what she said.
Dude, I'm gonna bring up one. I'm gonna pick the first video that I see. I'm in now, and I'm a member. Let me see this here. Stop, because I the idea of a road trip, I love it, but I just know realistically there's things I'm not ever doing in this life. Let's see here.
All right, welcome to traveling with farmerryan.locals.com.
Where are you here? Is this Nicaragua?
That was Panama, or no, I'm sorry, that was a Panajachel, Guatemala at Lake Atitlan. And that's just me talking about this project that I'm going to work on and like things I've said here with Father Mejia and things along those lines.
Dude, so you're going down, you say this is like a wild adventure. You don't even really know definitively what happens once you get down there. I presume the way back, you might dump the car and fly back?
I mean...
How many kilometers are on the car?
I'm not really trying to come back anytime soon, other than like maybe a couple years. I think I can get what they call a digital nomad residency. If you have more proof of earning more than like $1,000 a month, for Colombia, you can stay there for 2 to 3 years on that. And I'm like this close to the right amount to be able to just apply for residency. So
that's, I mean, look, the amount of stuff. When we'll talk offline, I'm going to send you the website for Newsflare, because the amount of stuff you must catch, the amount of stuff you must catch incidentally, animals, videos that you could sell, license, and whatever. It's leaving money on the table when you have an asset, which is this adventure that 0.1% of the world are ever going to have. Are you allowed making income from? I shouldn't ask you that. That's that won't interfere with anything that the VA gives you.
No, as long as I keep it under like, if I don't have to even file taxes unless I'm making more than like 24,000 in capital gains, or don't have to file for above 12,000, something like my income's low enough based on my VA disability, but it's great. It's plenty of money for traveling through Central America.
How cheap is everything? I mean, say cheap. How much different is pricing where you are?
I had a tomahawk steak the other day that was like a good 3+ pounds, and it was maybe $35.
And it's good freaking beef. Is it Brazilian beef or is it just Central American?
Honestly, I don't know. I'm assuming it was probably like Brazilian or Argentinian beef. So good though. That was one of the best steaks I've had in a long time. So let's see. This hostel I'm staying in, they gave me a king size bed, that right there, and they gave me a king size bed in a 5-bed hostel that I was like, okay, but there's nobody else staying here, so they just gave me my private room for $15 a night, and $15 a night. I got air conditioning. I got Wi-Fi. I mean, the stream seems pretty smooth once I got past the Brave crowds are blocking it.
There's a little bit of glitch. It's less glitchy than it was from the hotel in Ottawa. Wait, was it in Ottawa? Yeah, it was in Ottawa. Of course, that's behind the Iron Rainbow of Canada.
Oh yeah.
I
filter.
I got to live a little vicariously through you. Like, what's the most wild thing you've seen thus far? The nighttime sky is pitch dark. You can see the cosmos in a way that most of us can't.
Some places it's been absolutely gorgeous. You the sunsets have been amazing. I post a lot of pictures of the churches and the sunsets and some sunrise walks on the beach. They have some serious Christian iconography here. Like there's one of the last posts I did, there's a massive statue of Jesus in San Juan del Sur that looks over the, yeah, that's the one.
What does that say? Jesus en ti confío, trust in Jesus?
I think so. Confío. I'm pretty sure that's what that means. There's some, like I said, I need to practice my Spanish.
Yeah, I can only get it in as much as it resembles French, but
that's fair. So one of the craziest things I saw was driving through Honduras, which I met an El Salvadoran that was from Cleveland, Ohio, and he was in San Salvador with his wife, who's Honduran. And I told him I was doing this trip and where I was going. He's like, yeah, just drive through Honduras. There's no real need to stop there. It's not safe. Mm-hmm. And so I'm driving through and there's these guys all dressed up in like creepy Halloween costumes. And it's like 100 degrees and they're wearing these masks and all these costumes. And they're like jumping out into the street, dancing, like, woo, like I don't know what they're trying to do. Get me to stop to rob me or get me to stop to pay them for their services.
No, I'd say stop to rob you, kidnap you, and then sell you.
Pretty much.
After harvesting your organs.
I kept it moving, like I'm not stopping for this nonsense. And it was also felt inappropriate because it was Semana Santa, the week of saints, or like what we call a Passion Week for Easter. So it's like, you guys are wearing like creepy devil masks and you think people are going to stop and give you money? Like, get out of the road. I don't want to hit you, but I also don't want to stop.
Wow. That's the stuff of nightmares for me, at least. Even if there's a legitimate explanation, that's like, you've seen videos in America where people put up stop and block cars in the road so they can rob them and carjack them.
Yeah.
And you're clearly a religious man as well, correct?
As of like the last year plus, yeah. Like found Jesus, I'd say also I wasn't politically activated until like 2018 with all the targeting of the Russiagate nonsense. Yeah. I was like, at some point you have to look past all the lies and be like, okay, so you had nothing. You used this to get people elected to take over the Senate. All these senators that were elected in 2018 used the lies of Russiagate and Russia to be, now they're up for re-election in 2024. So ideally, campaigns are using their own words against them to show that these people were liars and get them thrown the hell out of the Senate. But we'll see.
Mama, look at this. I'm just look at that.
Oh yeah.
So this is a wild adventure you're on, and it's I'm a little jealous but a little scared for you at the same time. I can live vicariously through it because I know that I would never do this. My dream is to do the St. John, Newfoundland to Victoria or Vancouver Island cross country Canada, or something similar in the States, because I think it would be geographically a little more interesting in the States. I think Saskatchewan is kind of boring objectively. Yeah. This is amazing. So you're in Nicaragua now. What's the ETA or ET estimated date of arrival?
Well, I was going to stay here one more night. And then the last 2 nights, there's been a beach party going on, like at a bar 200 meters away, that until midnight, the music's blasting. And I'm like, okay, I don't care if I've paid for tonight for $15. I'll do this piece right here with you. And then I'm looking to head out today for Costa Rica. It's only like an hour, 2 hours to get into the country from here, but I might stay on the Nicaraguan side just because lodging's a little cheaper, and then get an early start tomorrow. And I'm going to do a waterfall hike in Monte Verde, Costa Rica. Absolutely gorgeous rainforests.
Do you have a GoPro?
I don't.
Okay, well,
I had a dash cam years ago, and I gave it away when I sold my car when I left back in 2021.
We're going to have to think about remedying that. And do you have a fishing rod with you?
I don't. That's something I regret not doing as a younger man, is like learning those survival skills of fishing. Like I've been fishing like twice in my entire life.
Oh, I was thinking, like, if the zombie apocalypse hits Florida, I'll survive off iguanas and fish. That we'll have no problem finding protein. But oh man, no, Costa Rica is known for its magnificent fishing. It's ocean end. Oh, I'm still too scared to travel to certain even there, but I know that's irrational. But okay, this is beautiful, Ryan. So traveling with Farmer Ryan.locals.com. You don't yet have YouTube or Rumble. You have to. And I'm going to send you a link for Newsflare because. So what do you're capturing this stuff off iPhone or just
yeah. I got an iPhone 12 Pro. That's pretty much all I have. I got a crappy netbook that I don't really use too much other than to like stream UFC and things like that.
Well, I mean, you don't need anything more than a good iPhone to begin with, but you know, a GoPro helps because you can get it in places you can't get an iPhone, and a nice camera helps if.
So the problem with Newsflare, I think, is that don't they only pay you if you have PayPal? Like, isn't that the only way to get? Like, that's one of the things
I know that they. Yeah, they. Well, I don't know if it's only, but that's one of the, as far as I'm concerned, like one of the features of Newsflare is that if you make a sale, they PayPal you within 24 hours of each sale. There are alternate ways of payments, but even with Storyful, it's PayPal, except it's quarterly, not per video. But you have an iPhone 12. The camera there is good enough for everything. And then I don't know, like you probably wouldn't want to have necessarily a nice Nikon or some fancy camera DSLR. It's probably not what you want to have down there.
I try and not dress fancy at all. I don't really have much for fanciness anymore. Like I used to be all about. I have a box of watches back in Arizona. Like I regret going into that investment area. So I don't really even have fancy anything anymore. I'm kind of low key, just trying to be comfortable and travel.
That's fantastic. I was going to show this is my fanciest watch, a Tissot T-Touch, and I got it for like, I mean, it was $500 cash on Canal Street in New York. It's $500 or $5. It was so not so cheap, but rather so much cheaper than they cost at other retailer stores. And then I was like, oh my god, I just bought a knockoff from Canal Street in New York in Chinatown, and I called up Tissot and it's a legit, and I was like, well, I got a good deal. Good deal. That's the. But I don't even wear. Watches are a pain in the ass. That's also like.
It's like I haven't worn a watch in years. It's like it would cover up my tattoo.
Yeah. Show. Okay. May I see the tattoo? That's not. So it's a vine or is it a chain?
It's a rope.
It's an anchor. Okay.
Yeah. Let me see if I can get a better angle. So it's a cross key and cross anchor for symbolizing my service as a Coast Guardsman, as a bosun mate and storekeeper, and that's a sheep shank knot. Which it's hard to show because of the round.
Well, is that relatively new? Because the colors look pretty fresh.
I think I got it in like 2013, so it's held up great.
That's fantastic.
I'm also really white. So.
Well, no, but it's a good deep blue. So, hold on one second. Traveling with Farmer Ryan.locals.com. You're going to have to set up a Rumble because it's if only to cross promote, and that's amazing. So now, and the plan is to stay there for no return date established.
Pretty much. I mean, I look at Colombia and the 2 weeks I spent there 2 years ago with like my oldest friend. We've known each other since we were like 6 years old, and because I've got the benefit of travel with the Coast Guard and being stationed all over. He's flown out and met me in different places, and he flew down and met me in Colombia a couple of years ago, where I was detained at the airport for a night because I didn't have proof of vaccination or a negative test. And this was, what was that? We're in 2024, right? So that was August of 2022 when we knew the vaccines didn't work. And it's like, so you need proof of vaccination or a negative test, but the people who are vaccinated could still be spreading it, but they don't need to have a negative test.
Oh, but don't you see, the vaccine works because it makes your symptoms more mild, apparently, even though that was not what it. It was never supposed to make sense.
Yeah. They threatened to send me back. They said I insulted their immigration official. I was like, I thought I was extremely polite.
It's kind of tough to insult someone if you can't really speak, unless it was in English and you said, like dumb whatever.
No, I was speaking Spanish, but I was like, la vacuna no funcionar, necesito un examen. And other people were telling me, it's like, you could just buy a vaccine card, right? And it's like, I know.
That'll get you to trouble. Take for granted everything comes, sees sunlight eventually.
Yeah.
Let me add, there was a question in here. It says, what is yogic flying, and does your guest practice it? YOGIC. I thought that was a typo for
So
logic.
yogic flying is more like it's more like hopping, but the term's always been called flying. It's like you're doing your siddhi technique, which is one of the most advanced techniques in the transcendental meditation movement. And you're doing your meditation, and you go into this this additional sutra, which is just another word for like a different mantra. And there's like the way it can be described. I don't think I'm saying anything out of pocket or anything I shouldn't say, but it's like you get like an energy burst from your meditation and from the depths, and then it's like you get a jolt, and people I don't want to say levitate, they hop. So and it's like you elevate off the mat, and then you fall back down. That's what these kids have been doing in Colombia, and it's like something I do occasionally, not lately, because I don't have the foam padding to do it on, and like I've got a bad knee, and it's like I've talked to my dad about it, and he's been doing it for like 40 years, and he said that it probably has been a contributing factor for his lower back issues and his hip issues. So like you have to have proper environment to do it in. You don't want to just do it on a concrete floor and bust your tailbone.
Okay, amazing. Ryan, we're going to talk for 2 seconds after this, so people know where to reach you. This is phenomenal, and I'm going to be following your journey because it's something I know that I'll never do. So this is going to be the closest I can get to doing it. Amazing. Awesome. Anything you absolutely want to say that I didn't give you the opportunity or didn't think to ask?
Oh, I just thought of this. It's like so there. Barnes told me that Barnes responded to a comment that I posted saying that I was too dumb to speak in public, or because I told him that it might be a blind spot that he's overlooking Amaryllis fox as a possible CIA plant within RFK Jr.'s campaign. And it's like, all I said was, maybe you should talk to Mark Robert about it, because he's actually done some research, and everything he's showing says that, like,
Well, when you say it like that, it sounds perfectly reasonable. But when you read it, maybe you should talk to Robert, because he's actually done some research. I tell you, the written word on the internet was intended for misunderstanding.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I would also take.
He jumped on me for he's like, well, so Joe Kent, because he was former CIA, and in the very next sentence where he stopped reading, I say, and I understand the argument for Joe Kent because he's come out as a vocal opponent of the CIA, and I'm not saying all people who are in the CIA are bad deep state actors. Like, I tried to do a little explanation without being too verbose in writing it all.
No, but it all gets misinterpreted. It all gets read in the worst way possible, which is my defense. When I tell someone on Twitter to go F themselves, they have to read it with humor, because I intended with humor. I called someone a moron, and even if it never sounds as amicable, or as sort of not friendly. Hey, Matt, don't be a moron. We say don't be a moron, and you read it, and then I had to apologize to the guy privately because I didn't mean to.
It's like how you tell somebody to, go fuck yourself.
Fuck off, man. Go fuck yourself. And you could say that. So shut the fuck up. I mean, that it is just, nobody would take that badly when you say it verbally like that, but go shut the fuck up on Twitter. I mean, that's going to be read in the most sinister, threatening manner possible.
Yeah. You want to
don't take it. I know Barnes. It's not that he has thick skin. He doesn't view things that way either. So don't read it into that, because I don't think Barnes meant anything nefarious. But
I would just love to hear him discuss it with Mark Robert, to hear their back and forth, to maybe it was a blind spot, or no, there is an explanation to justify her as a non-deep state actor, even though she wrote a book that was like, how did that get published? Kind of goes against.
Okay, well, then we'll get a panel of Friday. What is it called? Freeform Friday with
Yeah, that's actually, I think that was exactly what I recommended. But yeah, it's no worries.
I'll ask him. We'll make sure to remind him after this. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I have to ask you a few things offline, and we're gonna make sure that you do. Well, we'll talk offline for a second. You're okay that this is? I'm gonna put the whole interview up on YouTube. You're cool with that?
Oh yeah.
The whole this whole stream. It's gonna be a 2-hour and 43-minute stream, but I'm gonna put it up there and everyone's gonna see this, because traveling with farmerryan.locals.com, man, Godspeed. It's amazing. Okay, and we're ending it, and I'm going to talk to you in a second, Ryan. Okay, no, hold on. End stream now. Locals, see you later. Everybody, see you tomorrow. Live stream the arguments in immunity. Booyah.